We'll let them know.
What's going on, everybody?
What's up? What's happening?
Welcome to Let the Madness Begin. LTMB Live.
Happy Thursday. We ready?
That's right. I'm Will Gaillard.
And I'm Mike White.
And we too are LTMB. Thank you for being here, everybody. Let's bring Facebook on to the stream. Let's see here. What's going on, Facebook?
What's happening, Facebook?
How's everybody doing today? Welcome to another live recording of LTMB Live. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight.
We call it LTMB Organic.
All right, we got a lot to discuss on today's show. A lot of things making its rounds in the news.
Lot more. There's a lot more. I would say a lot more, but one more important domino fell in this whole, I guess I call it like a rapey perp walk.
Yeah,
that's what I'll call it.
It's snowballing. It's definitely snowballing.
This rapey perp walk is growing larger.
Yeah, it is. More and more people are being outed, and just a couple people have been outed today, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a class action lawsuit that is going after the makers and the sellers of bump fire stocks. We're going to talk about a former police chief that has some racist tendencies that's now being charged for some of his actions.
Tendencies.
Yeah, tendencies.
You're being generous.
Yeah.
Say tendencies.
First, we want to start out with, did anybody hear the news about Twitter? This was just a couple days ago, right? The Tuesday night, I believe.
Yeah. I just found out about it. On Tuesday, where they're going to increase the character limit.
That's right. It's 280 characters. They're doubling it from 140.
I think that's something that I've been looking into, because what I guess they had the same standard across the globe, and as you know, like all languages don't have the same parameters as far as characters go.
Right.
And I think they were looking at Japan. They're looking at China, right? They're looking at Japan and China and found that those users in those countries use the fewest characters because they can get across more using small,
just their characters.
Just their characters. So the average character count for them was real low. You know what I'm saying? So there was always talks about expanding it because of that, because since they have the same standard across all countries, it didn't really make sense, so they just decided to double it. Now, I already seen your boy Trump didn't take advantage of that, so
Donald Trump.
He is about to bust a nut on Twitter. he is gonna seriously.
If he is not the most active user on Twitter,
oh yeah,
man,
boy, he's here. He's
definitely up there.
You know what? He probably is the most active.
He might be. I mean, there's some serial users though. I mean, for real, that's on there.
But man, he's gonna take advantage of that. It's gonna be.
That's like his press release.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, all it's gonna do is gonna I guess cause him to incriminate himself. I guess. 2 times as much.
Yeah, I know, right? Think about what he can fill up in 280 characters.
Yeah. Think about that. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it's.
So yeah, but he did start. He started on Tuesday night, and this was the tweet that he sent out on Tuesday night. It reads, Ed Gillespie worked hard but did not embrace me or what I stand for. Don't forget, Republicans won 4 out of 4 House seats, and with the economy doing record numbers, we will continue to win even bigger than before. Now, there's a lot of falsehoods in that short tweet right there, but he managed to get that in 280 characters. But first of all, Ed Gillespie, of course, Ed Gillespie lost his run for the governorship in Virginia. But he's trying to, Donald Trump is kind of trying to make the case that he wasn't a Trump candidate, that he didn't fully embrace all that Donald Trump is and all that Donald Trump's agenda wants to get done. Is that true?
He's just trying to hedge his bets. If you think about how he put that, he's not saying that Gillespie didn't embrace him at all. He just didn't embrace him enough.
Did not embrace me or what I stand for. He separated himself from this guy that ran a Trump campaign. He definitely ran a Trump campaign. Trump endorsed him. He was retweeting Trump. He made this whole governor's race about Confederate monuments and Confederate statues and the NFL players taking the knee during the national anthem. He talked about immigration, of course. This was a Trump candidate, and he lost.
Okay. So what does this tell you? Is it saying that, you know, Trump is kind of a toxic representative? And
it could tell you.
I mean, the thing is, it's not surprising. I mean, if you want to use that election in Virginia as some sort of litmus test, it makes sense when you, I guess, look at Donald Trump's approval rating. I mean,
yeah.
So why would anybody, again, expect anything different? If you're running as a Trump candidate or a Trump surrogate, why would you expect a different result based on where Trump's approval rating is right now?
And if you took a look at the, you know, around the counties in Virginia as well, of course, in the rural counties, he carried those rural, like the map is all red. But of course, in the most populous counties where there's diversity, he lost those counties. And these are counties that Donald Trump lost as well, but he didn't lose them quite as bad than what Gillespie did. So it kind of shows you that running on a Trump campaign, that's not going to do anything because actually, one, you're not Trump.
You're not Trump.
It's not carrying over.
And that doesn't carry over. And actually, to be honest, Trump's agenda truly hasn't, I guess, attained any kind of definition. Really, it's very chaotic. So it doesn't really have definition. Yeah. Like what has he done? Yeah. That's not something you could really, I guess, ascribe to him because he hasn't been in the office that long, right? To kind of have, you know, people always talked about what is or ask the question about like, what's the Obama agenda? What's the Bush agenda? What's the Clinton agenda? Right. And, you know, there was always someone who had a succinct answer. There is really no succinct answer for Trump because he's a chaotic individual who kind of blows with the wind based on what's popular and what's not. And so he's also a, what would people call a professional contrarian. Yeah. So you can't run as a Trump candidate because he doesn't really have an established platform. Really. I think
what's established right now is that he's been failing on the job.
Yeah,
that's what has.
I mean, people call him
with insurance. The healthcare. How he's tried to get rid of Obamacare at least 3 times this year. It hasn't worked.
The wall.
Yeah, the wall and the
taxes.
Taxes is still going on.
That's still
right
going
now.
on.
But what about the immigration ban?
The transgender.
Blocked. Yeah. So all of these things that he's tried to get done, that he talked about so glowingly on the campaign trail, he has failed to get done.
And the thing is,
the only thing that is representative of his agenda is
a bigot. Yeah, he's a bigot. That's about it. But that's not.
He's failed to get anything done on that.
It's like on that. Yeah, he has kind of a platform of bigotry, but like, that's not something you can actually call a platform. So that's why it's just
to some far right individuals. I mean, they won't say that, but they will run on it. They won't say it as flagrantly as that, but yeah, they'll run on it just like this guy did.
So you can't. But I agree. He's not Trump. So exactly. What Trump won on was, I guess you can say, his energy. That's really all he won on. Right. You can't. You see what I'm saying? So you can't siphon off of that. You can't siphon off of that. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that.
So, but yeah, that was very funny that he was all about some Ed Gillespie beforehand, but as soon as Ed Gillespie loses the race, well, you know,
you gotta.
He didn't embrace me.
You have to see where Trump is coming from, because right now, if you look at I guess the ridicule going on right now in regard to his administration and how there are a lot of individuals who are said to be unqualified. he needs to work overtime to distance himself from losers. I mean, he does. He has to distance himself from losers, and even if he supported them,
yeah.
In the recent, like last week,
hours before. Hours before that. Let's go, Gillespie. You lost, you bum.
Hey, he likes winners. Can you blame him? He likes winners.
Straight up.
He likes winners.
But yeah, on Tuesday,
we say bum.
Yeah, bum. You bum. But anyway, on Tuesday we talked loosely about some of the races. We talked about how there's a new governor in New Jersey and Virginia. How those two Democratic individuals, they won the ticket. They're new governors now, and there's some other changes that we've seen around the country as well. There's a new DA in Philly. And this guy is
Larry
Krasner. Larry Krasner.
Yeah.
And why that's kind of important, or looked at as something that's eye-opening, is because he has represented activists many times. He's represented Black Lives Matter demonstrators, and he's the new DA.
He's the advocate. He's basically an advocate for criminal justice reform.
Yeah, civil rights, man.
So I guess you can call him like a Kaepernick friendly.
I would think so.
He's Kaepernick friendly.
So that's gonna piss.
That's gonna piss people off. But that's kind of sad that it would. Like, why would that piss somebody off? Like, because essentially what would he try to do? He would try to bring respect to that field, right? Essentially, reforming that field is an attempt to bring respect to that field, or not that field, but that arm of the government,
right?
You know what I'm saying? You would think that people would want that. You know what I'm saying?
But the same way that people don't really want to hear what the whole protest is about, the whole kneeling is about, conversations are a little bit too complex, to say it nicely. A little bit too complex.
That was very nice. That was too nice, but I got you. I get you.
Also, Danica Rome. She became the first transgender individual elected as a state representative in Virginia. There was a transgender woman elected to city council in Palm Springs, California. Seattle elected its first lesbian mayor. Also, there's in Charlotte, North Carolina, first black female to be elected mayor. Also in Helena, Montana, first black mayor. Actually, and he's the first black mayor in the whole state of Montana as well. So we've seen a lot of things across the country. I mean, Tuesday was a very impactful day, and especially for Democrats, because that's the one thing about this list. They're all Democrats, excluding Helena, excluding the mayor that became the first black mayor in Helena. That's nonpartisan. They don't take a side. But everybody else, all of these individuals are Democrats. So I know a lot of people are looking at this as like a big win, a big progressive win as well. Because if you take a look at these individuals, some black people, some lesbians, some transgender.
There's diversity on the surface.
Yeah, of course. Right, okay. And I like that. Of course, everybody can get behind that. Everybody that is a proponent of change and progressive change, and really impacting the lives of the American populace in a positive way. I just don't. I'm not so excited.
I think Greg in the chat had kind of the same apprehension. He
really?
did. Yeah, he said Democrats. He said, but will it make any difference? He said, Democrats win governors, but will it make any difference?
And that's my point, because all of these individuals that won are Democrats. Yeah, it's good because, okay, we can say that, a Democrat is obviously better than a Republican on a lot of issues. They're still Democrats. So we're still like, okay, if we're going to be excited about what happened on Tuesday, that's feeding life into the Democratic Party, isn't it?
Oh, no. And it has, if you look at, I guess, some of the, media coverage of it, the Democrats are seeing it as a big win.
Propelling the Democratic Party. And that's the problem, especially for someone that does not believe that the Democratic Party can be salvaged, as I don't. I don't believe that the Democratic Party can be saved. I don't believe that they can be reformed. These people, I have no doubt that, especially like in the House of Representatives and in state houses of representatives, I have no doubt that there's some good people that actually want to make some positive change, that they actually want to represent the people in the right way. But they are not the majority. And while, like I said, these new voices here that that now have a voice, that now have an official spot inside state legislatures, or in the House of Representatives and the governor's spot, I just doubt that they can change much. Like I said, I just have my doubts.
So you think they're just like a small island within a sea of corruption? Or
A sea of corruption.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, I can be wrong. I can definitely be wrong. I hope I am wrong.
Terry Myers being sarcastic, but that took the words right out my mouth. This country is going to hell. That's the first thing I said on Tuesday. In sarcasm, of course. This country is going to hell in a handbasket. Because that's what some people think.
Yeah.
But
like I said, I mean, look, to see all this positive change, like I said, is good. It's just that when it's wrapped up in the Democratic Party, we know what the Democratic Party is all about.
Yeah, and again,
it's gonna spit them out just like it always does.
Yeah, they're gonna just churn them like butter, man.
Yeah.
Well, possibly. I don't want to say that. Because it does. If change is going to happen, it would happen from the inside.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what I would call a pessimistic positive.
Maybe
it's a pessimistic positive on my part.
Maybe
because that's the only way change will happen is from the inside.
Yeah.
So if they don't dictate the narrative, then they'll be kind of sucked into that turbine.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I don't know all there is to know about all of these individuals that won elections as well. I don't know everything that that can be known about them. So we're gonna have to wait to see exactly what they mean to their city councils and the states and governorships and mayors to these cities. We're gonna have to wait and see if they actually will govern in the right way. I don't know. Yeah, it's like I said, on the surface it looks like positive change, but we've seen that before. So I guess my expectations are just a little bit tempered. I guess I can just say that. So yeah, today some breaking news was made, and this concerns Roy Moore, who is the Republican Senate nominee in Alabama. And if you can remember, he beat Luther Strange for that spot back a couple months ago, because this was the Senate spot that was vacated by Jeff Sessions when he was appointed as the Attorney General. So Luther Strange was appointed to that spot, but they held a special election, and Luther Strange lost it to Roy Moore. Now, Roy Moore is now being accused of improper relations with underage girls. I believe, and this happened decades ago when he was in his 30s. Now, the most appalling of these allegations come from a woman named Lee Corfman. And she claims that Moore made sexual advances towards her when she was only 14 years old and he was 32 years old. So, the story goes that they met outside a courtroom in 1979 when she was with her mom at a courthouse when her mom was ready to go into a hearing, a custody hearing, a child custody hearing. And Roy Moore approached them, struck up a conversation with them, and he offered to take care of her daughter, the mother's daughter, this woman named Lee Corfman, while the mother went inside to handle her business at the hearing. The mother said okay, and he spoke with her, and he got her number. Later on, he picked her up near her home, and this was actually a couple times he did this. Took her back to his house, and on one of these occasions, he stripped down into his tighty whities. That's what she said. She can remember his tight white underwear. And he took off her shirt and her pants and proceeded to grope her over her bra and her panties. And he took her hand and made her touch his erect penis as well over his underwear. She said she became uncomfortable with this and asked if she could go home, and he took her home. So, of course, Roy Moore is absolutely denying this allegation,
but then she's not the only one.
She's not the only one.
I think that was the one that that he took it the furthest with.
Yeah, that was the most salacious of the allegations. Like the other ones, there were 3 other girls, and they were talking about kissing and asking them out on dates, providing them alcohol when they were underage. things like that. But this one, it was the only one that went as far as like actual like inappropriate touching and stuff like that, sexual conduct. But in a statement, he told Breitbart. In a statement, he said, "These allegations are completely false and are a desperate political attack by the National Democratic Party and the Washington Post on this campaign," because the Washington Post was the one that broke this story.
Wait, isn't one of the accusers voted Republican all of her life? And
that's Korfman.
Korfman, and voted for Donald Trump.
That's correct. Korfman has voted Republican all life. Voted for Donald Trump in 2016. Correct.
So it's like, again, if these charges are false and have no basis, it's not necessary to like do the typical, oh, it's just the other side coming at me. They're either true or they're not true. For him to do that, he's just trying to like kind of throw people off, and that tells me that there might be some truth to it, especially seeing that there are two other that we know, but three other three other occasions where he tried the same thing.
Right. And
if you think about what kind of position he is in, he's a judge, so he gets to see families in potential states of turmoil. So it offers him a good opportunity to take advantage of the vulnerable children, in this case women, girls, in these situations. Because think about it, he's sniffing something out. He's a predator. He's probably not just going after any girl. He's probably sniffing certain situations out that he's privy to. People who are in certain circumstances where they might be emotionally vulnerable. You know what I'm saying?
That could be true.
You know what I'm saying? And the judge, being a judge, you have a good like vantage point to that.
Nah, but he's saying that. Well, actually, later on, his campaign is also saying that these allegations are false, and if they were true, all of this would have came out in previous campaigns that he's had. Because of course, this was not his only campaign. He's run for state's Supreme Court before, and to that, Korfman, she's now 53. She says that she's thought about coming forward before, and in particular in 2000 when he ran for his first campaign for the state Supreme Court, but she thought better of it because of her own personal situation. She had young kids at the time. She had financial troubles. She had three divorces at that time, so she was thinking about how she would look, how it would be perceived, her credibility in this case. But as time went by, she thought that,
and you would think
she had to say something.
And you would think, the fact she had financial troubles back then, she would have come out if she wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Like, if she was just, looking for a come up, she would have came out back then.
Yeah. And actually, and let's be clear about this too, it wasn't her that sought out the Washington Post. The Washington Post sought out her and these other three women because in doing some, I don't know about investigating, but just they were in Alabama talking to people about him, I guess during the campaign when he was running against Luther Strange, and they had heard that he would go after young teenage girls back in his past. So they began to investigate, and they found these four women. And at first they didn't want to talk to the Washington Post, but then
it was by happenstance.
Yes,
it was just them covering the campaign.
Yes. And then,
so it's not like they went after him specifically for this.
No, like I said, it was something that they found out.
And it doesn't matter whether it's the Washington Post.
No, it doesn't matter what publication it is.
It doesn't matter what publication it is. It doesn't matter what kind of political leanings they have, which we already know they do. We called them out last year, but
and they were able to verify that Korfman's mother indeed did have a court hearing in February of 1979. They were able to verify that through divorce records. So he was there, and at the time Moore was an assistant district attorney, so of course, and he had an office down the hallway to the courtroom. So it looks like this is very possible that this actually did happen. And then she provided details about going to his home, like where she would get picked up at, and that he had an unpaved driveway in his home or at his home. And like I said, it's an allegation. It's a he said, she said, but there are 4 she's that are saying that there's some improper behavior by this man.
There's too many details for me to just write it off.
Oh yeah, no.
And you know what? It's like, again, I'm not just looking at these allegations. I'm looking at kind of how Moore has, I guess, positioned himself about certain issues. You know what I'm saying? Because remember what he had to say about the national anthem kneeling? About how it's unpatriotic and it's a disrespect to the rule of law. So usually, to me, I'm not gonna sit there and say everybody who has that position has skeletons in their closet, but usually people who tend to be on this public scolding campaign usually have skeletons in their closet, especially if they go in overdrive about it, like questioning authority, because that's what he said too. These players who are kneeling are disrespecting the rule of law, and I'm like,
when it has nothing to do
with
rules of law or anything like that. Yeah. There are no rules at all, actually.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, if the rule of law wasn't challenged, this nation wouldn't have made any progress.
This nation wouldn't be
here. Yeah, exactly. It wouldn't exist at all.
Wouldn't be here because we would have never challenged Great Britain.
Exactly. Exactly. And actually, I think the kneeling does the opposite of what he asserted in his Facebook post. That is disrespecting the rule of law. It's actually advocating that law enforcement be held accountable to the rule of law. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's interesting how people like Moore will talk about patriotism, because that's what he loves to talk about, right? And he talks about citizens' duty, I guess, to challenge the government. That's their duty. But somehow they forget that when they're the ones who are in government.
Y'all wonder how he feels about Sheriff Arpaio. Rule of law.
Rule of law, right?
Don't challenge the rule of law, right?
I mean, and like, so it doesn't surprise me that, you know, allegations would come about for somebody such as him, who has a very authoritarian type attitude. You know what I'm saying? And matter of fact, speaking about the rule of law, I think his son has been arrested like 9 times. You see what I'm saying? Like, the people who are the public scolders always have the most dirt. You know what I'm saying? Anyway,
but of course Republicans have been forced to talk about this, and like Mitch McConnell has said that he thinks that Moore should step down if he is guilty, but of course he's saying that he's innocent. So it's been perceived that they're putting pressure on Roy Moore, but all of this so-called pressure that I've seen has come with that caveat, like, if you're guilty, if these allegations are true, he should step down. But like I said,
the only way to kind of solidify the truth is for him to admit it, which he's not going to admit.
Do that. No.
So, but I don't think there's anything going to come about. The only thing I hope that comes about is, you know, these kind of 4 accusers, their story gets out,
right?
Because there's probably nothing legal that's going to happen.
Nah, it's past the statute of limitations. I think it would have happened. It would have had to happen 3 years after the incident, like after 1979, and of course that's way gone. That's like that passed a long time ago. So yeah, nothing legally can happen. But yeah. I'm led to believe that this actually did happen. I'm led to believe that that this guy is a predator, and if he can't be punished legally for it,
punished politically.
Yeah, punish him politically.
Okay.
Yeah, don't vote for that man. But that's where we're gonna leave it for Facebook. Appreciate you being here for the first 30. We're gonna take this to YouTube only now, so if you would click that link, and you will go to the stream on YouTube to finish out the program.
Did you have the link? You already put it there?
Yeah, the link is in there. Yeah,
right.
Link is in there. So we'll see you over there. All right. Now, that is not all that we have to say about sexual predators.
There's more. The pedal walk is the predator walk is not over.
Yeah. So another guy has been outed as a sexual deviant. You know, this guy with some bad behavior that's doing some inappropriate things, and it's none other than famous comedian Louis C.K.
Yo, this one hurts me, dog.
Yeah.
For real, man.
I mean,
I love me some Louis C.K. man.
I've watched many of his comedy specials. He's a funny guy, man. His clout is,
it's way up there. I think he is probably in the top 5, top 3.
Yes. So
right now.
Yeah. So this is a marquee case. So he's been accused of, sexual harassment, sexual misconduct by 5 women. Apparently, there have been unsubstantiated rumors of Louis C.K. masturbate in front of associates, and this goes back years. I never heard of this, but yeah, apparently
it's been corroborated too.
It's been it's been in circles, I guess, especially in the entertainment industry.
Like, this is what he does.
Yeah, this is what he does.
At least he asks, though, right? He asked them, like, "Hey, can I masturbate in front of you?"
But but again, nobody has gone on the record until now. So 5 women have come forward and they're sharing their stories. So this goes back. Two of the women that are sharing their stories are Dana Min Goodman and Julia Wolove. Now they're a Chicago comedy duo, and in 2002, they had an opportunity to perform at the U.S. Comedy Arts Festival in Aspen, Colorado. So afterwards, Louis C.K. invited them back to his hotel room for a nightcap, and so they were, excited about the opportunity to, perform at the club. They didn't want to go home. The bars were closed. They kind of wanted to celebrate. They felt comfortable because, hey, it's Louis C.K. and they're together too, so they didn't really feel in danger or anything like that. So they went. Now, according to the New York Times, as soon as they sat down in his room, still wrapped in their winter jackets and hats, Louis C.K. asked if he could take out his penis, the women said. They thought it was a joke and laughed it off. And then he really did it. Miss Goodman said in an interview with the New York Times, he proceeded to take off all of his clothes and get completely naked and started masturbating. He just whipped it out. And
see, and the thing about stories like that is, if they just immediately tell people, I guarantee you people are going to be like,
because it sounds outlandish.
It sounds outlandish. So it's like when, a lot of people have the question, well, why didn't they say anything before? Because number one, the story seems outlandish, and probably it's like,
think about how much he outranks them.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, they're thinking about, a lot of, I guess, consequences to possibly coming out with that story.
Yep.
Or, so, I mean,
there was another comedian named Rebecca Corey, and she said that while she was appearing on a television plot in 2005 with Louis C.K., that he asked if he could masturbate in front of her, and she declined.
At least, like I said, at least he asked.
Right? There's another woman named Abby Shockner, I believe. In 2003, she called Louis C.K. to invite him to one of her shows. During the phone conversation, she said it kind of began to get inappropriate. He started talking kind of sexually, kind of sharing stuff that he shouldn't be sharing. She said that she could hear the blinds close, and then she heard sounds that he was making in the phone. He was masturbating while he was on the phone. This is crazy. Now, she did say, I believe it was either 6 years ago or 6 years later. I can't remember which one. I believe it was 6 years later. He wrote her an email, I believe, and apologized for his behavior. And she accepted his apology, but still, this is a pattern. It wasn't like she was the only one that he had did this to.
Yeah, and see, the thing is, I'm pretty sure, she accepted his apology with kind of, I guess, some mental concessions.
Yeah.
Meaning, I accept his apology, but it's not like you just slip and fall into that situation. Right. Louis C.K. It's not like you just. That's the deliberate. It's not like like you close the blinds. It's like premeditated, and you go through it. It's not like, oops. It's not an oops moment.
I'm just like, okay, you like masturbating, man. And he actually he's talked about this before too. He's been on programs being interviewed, and he's talked about masturbating, how much he likes it. Cool, man. You like masturbating. Good. Okay. What gives you the impression that it's okay to do this in front of unsuspecting females? Like, what makes you think that it's comfortable for them to do that? I mean, like, that is terrifying. They don't know what's going on. Like, you have just met these people, and you're pulling out your penis.
And you know it has something to do with not just power but sex, right. Because if it was just about being funny, then he would have did it in front of dudes too.
Yeah, exactly.
He would have did it in front of dudes, or he would call dudes up and say, "Hey, what's going on, dog?"
Yeah. If he's a comedian, he's trying to be funny.
If he was just trying to be funny, he would not have just focused on women.
This is him exerting his dominance over the situation. It's not I haven't heard that he did this to Julia Louis-Dreyfus. You know, somebody with some real name recognition, some established comedian, some celebrity or something like that. Haven't heard that. Maybe that will come out. I'm not sure. But it seems like he's doing this to people that he perceives as lower than him. Some of the people that he
probably look up to him too.
Yeah, look up to him, and that won't say anything about it maybe.
Again, that's a sign of a predator.
Yeah, he's a predator.
Because you kind of take advantage of
did.
people's weaknesses, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And their ability to fight back.
Now, on Thursday, earlier today, the premiere of his new movie called I Love You, Daddy, that was abruptly canceled. And also he was supposed to make an appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, and that's been canceled as well. So
I mean, I think, like, to me, again, this is more like this is no pessimistic positive. This is just straight pessimistic right here coming. I don't fully trust that a lot of these cancellations and a lot of production companies or probably sponsors distancing themselves from people like him. I don't trust it,
right?
Because it's going to be short-lived. You remember when even though this was never proven, and I think it was all bullcrap anyway, but remember when Kobe Bryant was going through his thing,
right?
Where the woman accused him of rape, and almost 30 sponsors like distanced themselves.
Right.
That was more because they didn't want any bad press. That had nothing to do with some sort of moral stake they had in it. And then, of course, after everything died down, what happened? They came running back.
Came right back.
And so I think it's good that all these stories are coming out and people are being outed, but I don't really have faith in capitalism enough to think it's actually going to be sustained. You know what I mean? I just don't have faith in it enough because there's too much money to be made. People forget about it at some point.
I was just looking at the story again because just like you said, it has been corroborated that he had been doing this. That 2005 incident that I was talking about on the television pilot. What's her name? From Friends.
Dang. You watched it, I didn't. So that's you have no excuse.
You just outing me just like that.
Oh, my bad, man.
I mean, Monica from Friends, all right? Monica from Friends, man. I forgot. It just escaping me right now.
Man, you letting all my business out there, son.
Hold on. But yeah, she was the one that her and her former husband, they were the ones that had corroborated it, and they had apologized to Mrs. Corey as well, or Miss Corey as well. Courtney Cox and David Arquette. The word that this incident actually happened, that he had asked to masturbate in front of this actress, it got out to the executive producers, which were Courtney Cox and David Arquette, and they confirmed the incident, and they said in an email that what happened to Rebecca on that set was awful.
See, here's the thing about all this.
Was a long time ago, too, 12 years ago.
And again, like, it's a long time ago. And if here's the thing I have a problem with. If you don't want this stuff to catch up, make it a part of your act. If you don't want this stuff to catch up to you, make it a part of your act, or make it a part of. Didn't he write a book too? I'm not sure if Louis C.K. wrote a book, or that maybe some other comedian. If you don't want it to catch up to you, make it a part of your act, which would probably be whack. But I'm just saying, like, if you don't want something to catch up to you, make it a part of your, I guess, your persona, meaning something you deal with. So when I say make it a part of your act, I don't necessarily mean make it a part of his comedy act. I'm just saying make it a part of who he is. Like, if he was really sorry about what he did, he would probably, you know, apologize to everyone and maybe kind of publicly talked about what he did. He's been on how many shows talking about his life, his upbringing, his kids, his wife, whoever. His past.
He's being silent on this.
That's what I'm saying. So like, and usually, you know, it's funny how comedians are the most, I guess, forthright about the most uncomfortable parts of their life, right? Right? That's how comedians, that's kind of what comedians draw from. Things that we see as maybe embarrassing, things that we see as maybe topics of conversation that we wouldn't want to let out in the public. They're just willing to expose themselves because they making light of it helps them, and making light of it in a funny way like creates good entertainment.
But this is something
he's different. Not want to talk about. But I'm just saying, again, if he wanted this stuff behind him, and if he was kind of truly, like, I guess, remorseful about it, again, and actually all this could have been avoided. Like, if you just come out and just say like, yo, this was, you know, this is some things I did when I was coming up. Look, I'm not proud of it. I'm sorry, dog. You're doing that. You're doing that because that's hard. You're just making that face because that's something that's hard to do. All I'm saying is, I'm telling you, it wouldn't have come to this.
I think there's a line though. I think there's a line. Like, if he made some dirty comments to some female associates, if he was trying to elicit some sexual favors from them, stuff like that, maybe it would have been nothing. But him actually whipping it out and actually start masturbating, at any point this is going to be a really bad look, and it's going to cause him to lose business at any point. Whether he reveals it or it is revealed for him, at any point, it's gonna be a no-no. You're gonna have to go away for a while.
I don't know, man. Not with the way people are easily forgive individuals that they look up to.
Unsuspecting females, he whipped it out and started masturbating on. You think that would have been okay?
I did not say that was okay. I'm just saying,
I'm just saying the response.
No, I'm just saying, like, I think you might be. I think you might be surprised. How many people still listen to R. Kelly music? How many people still buy R. Kelly music? How many people still go to R. Kelly concerts?
That's true.
And we saw video.
He said it wasn't him. He said it wasn't him. That wasn't me.
No, remember that Dave Chappelle? Man, them Dave Chappelle skits was funny, man. But anyway,
I get what you're saying.
A-grade doo-doo butter, baby. Something like that. But no, like, yeah, I mean, like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm just referencing people's capacity to forgive those that they look up to and those who they like the entertainment of. Yeah, that's why I put the R. Kelly thing out there, and I'm like, I was surprised. I'm like, how can people still like respect this man? Because I guess they just like the music too much. So what I'm saying is, I just don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that kind of people pardon him. Now they'll be like, oh, that's gross, and yeah, like, that's messed up, and they may back away from him for a while, but people are forgiving to those who are powerful, and especially those in the entertainment industry who make them laugh. Yeah, laugh, smile, yeah, enjoy life or whatever. There's some truth there that you can even talk about Money Mayweather, because he has a very checkered past as well, abusing women, and people still pay for his title fights and, you know, pay-per-view and all that. Yeah, there's some truth there. Like I said, I just, it's hard for me to imagine details about a man whipping out his penis and masturbating in front of unsuspecting females. That's hard to imagine, like, that people would still be like, well, you know, I'm still gonna buy that ticket. I mean, like, of course there can be some people that do that, but in mass, man, something's wrong with you people, for real. I am wondering how long this is gonna be hovering over his head, though. But like I said, man, I mean, maybe it has to do with how long he stays silent about it too. You know? True. And on that note, too, just for a second, we'll talk about that other sexual predator, Kevin Spacey.
This dude, I mean, it's like excommunication with the industry now.
Yeah, they dropped him from another.
Dropped him from a movie. Right now, this movie is set to be released December 22nd, I believe. It's supposed to be, the premiere is December 22nd. That's in a month. I mean, just over a month. And this man has been dropped. He's been replaced with Christopher Plummer. The movie's called All the Money in the World. Now, as far as I can tell, it's not like Kevin Spacey had a very small role. No, it was not a minor role in this movie. I mean, I believe he was. It wasn't like he was the star, but he had a starring role in the movie. So they're reshooting this movie, all his parts, with Christopher Plummer. You imagine how much money that's going to take?
Yeah, because I mean, if you, I think not only the money, the small time window that they were willing to deal with. When did you say it's good? When did
December 22nd?
That says a lot. That says a lot.
Yes.
That says a lot, because they could have just been like, okay, what they could have said was, and I'm pretty sure they would have been pardoned for this. It's like, we already shot all this. You know, we shot all this not knowing all these allegations were true. And then they came out. You know, we apologize, but you know, we already shot the movie. I think people would have been fine, but they understood that might have affected how much money the bottom line.
Yeah, but so, check it, making that move now and it being so public, that might up their bottom line.
It might up the bottom line. And like I said, they were willing to deal with having to shoot all those scenes in a short time period. I mean, that's a month. That's a month and a half.
That's awareness for you, man. For real. I mean, they're
doing the right thing for the sake of for the sake of capitalism, but at least it's the right thing.
At least it is the right move. Like I said, they could have, like you said, they could have easily just said, "Look, this movie is set to release in a month. We're not going to just go reshooting it." But for them to have the wherewithal to say, "This is what's best for the movie. This is what's best for the moviegoers that want to come see this movie." Man, good look. Good look. I will say good look. All right. Let's get to this guy, Stephen Klubeck. Okay. All right. Now, Stephen Klubeck is a very wealthy man. Very wealthy man. He is the founder of Diamond Resorts in Las Vegas. So he's a resident of Nevada. Also, earlier this year, he's been rumored to possibly seek running for governor of the state. Now, he has kind of shot down those rumors at different times, but then other times he's been kind of evasive. So we don't really know if he's going to run or not. But he's a wealthy guy. And he has always been a Democratic supporter. And he's also a Democratic contributor. He donates a lot of money to the Democratic Party, to the DNC, to Democratic candidates. I believe he donated $1 million in 2016 to Priorities USA, which was the super PAC. Actually, it was like a bunch of super PACs of Hillary Clinton's. So yeah, he's a Democratic guy. And recently, he was on MSNBC talking to Stephanie Ruhle about some things that he's not comfortable with that is concerning the Democratic Party. So we're going to play you a short clip to see, for you to see what he was talking about.
Continue to say, down with the billionaires. We can't stand the rich. A lot of people want to be rich. So is it the right message that the Democrats are going with?
It's so effing wrong.
Whoa.
It's aspirational. I didn't start with anything. Just penalize everyone that's done well. We all want to do well. It is very, very disturbing when I hear the millionaire or billionaire word. And I've told them to stop it, knock it off.
Then are you worried that the Democratic Party is going too far to the left?
So much so, it drives me nuts. So much so, it would make me quit the party. And I've made it very clear, I'll cut your money off. And others will do the same. We've had enough.
Okay,
we need a new brand.
Do you think this tax plan is going to get voted through? I mean, Republicans need a win here. Even if it doesn't work for their state, if Paul Ryan doesn't get this through, he's got no future. They will have no legislative wins for 2017.
Well, they have a lot of difficulties. They are very, unfortunately, bigoted, anti-Semitic, and caustic, and they're creating civil war.
Well, first, I just want to thank MSNBC. I'm glad that they provided a platform for the most marginalized in this country. That's the billionaires.
The millionaires and the billionaires.
Big ups to them.
Big ups, man, because they have it rough, you know? Like you said, some of the most marginalized people in this country. And so by MSNBC providing that platform for him to come on,
gave them a voice that they needed. And
share his voice about some of his troubles, some of them as a collaborative group.
Have kind of disparaged him.
Yes.
Well, they not by name, but just by saying millionaires and billionaires.
Yeah. He's very uncomfortable with it.
But go ahead. No,
okay, we can start at the beginning. So he starts about saying that they need to stop saying it. See, what the Democratic Party should be about is business and about aspirations. And so he's troubled because, look, he started with nothing. He didn't start with millions of dollars, billions of dollars. He came up. He made something of himself. So that shouldn't be looked down upon.
Well, no. Well, first, this is where I have a problem. Like, I have a problem from the very beginning. I don't like the way she set up the question. Right. It was just like, take this straw man. First of all, it was a softball, but it was a straw man softball. And let me I'm not even going to toss it up to you. I'm going to hold it for you so you can just knock it out the park.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because what did she say? Down with the billionaires. We can't stand the rich. Who's platforming it? What Democrat is saying that? Like seriously, what?
Because this is about the Democratic Party. Who in the Democratic Party is saying we can't stand billionaires?
Down with the billionaires. We can't stand the rich. Who is saying that on their platform?
Now, okay, of course, somebody like him, somebody like Stephanie Rule is probably suggesting Democrats like Elizabeth Warren, which she mentioned, Bernie Sanders, who is not an official Democrat but is a Democrat, Keith Ellison, yes, these certain individuals. Now, yes, they talk about billionaires, but in respect to what?
In respect to greed,
in
respect to avoiding taxes,
yes, because of that income inequality gap,
tax loopholes.
Yes, it's not simply about a billionaire being a billionaire. See, I've said this a long time ago about capitalism. Like, if you are so inclined, if you have so much talent, so much wherewithal, so much knowledge, if you are so hardworking to where you can get to a status to where you earn buckets of money, you are a millionaire, you are a billionaire. Hats off to you, man. No problem. But I have a problem with the greed of you. Not that you have the money. I have the problem with the greed of you. So it's about you being greedy, and it's about you lobbying Congress to execute that greed. That's what the problem is. It's not about you having so much money, because we can have I don't care how many millionaires and billionaires we have. The problem is that the people lower on the totem pole do not have access to living a life of dignity. And then they have to kind of make up for the tax burden that the wealthy abandon. Like I said, they lobby Congress to get done what they want to get done so that their taxes are pretty much zero. So we talked about corporations that pay somewhere between 0 and 10% in taxes, some that have a negative tax burden like Walmart and Wells Fargo. That's what's impacting this country, and that's why people can't get ahead, because of those things. So he's saying the word aspirations when he really means he means greed. Okay. So the Democratic Party needs to be the party of greed, but aren't they? Aren't they already? Like, who is he talking to? I don't know who he's talking about. But I mean, if you think about just logically, like,
the economy is actually not set up to have a bunch of millionaires and billionaires. The only reason why we have millionaires and billionaires is because of the working class.
Right.
So how can their
service industry?
Yeah. So like, how can he make that point? Like,
he says, "Stop it, knock it off." He wants the Democratic Party to stop talking about billionaires, millionaires, stop it, knock it off, or he's going to quit the party. He's going to cut off the money. Before that, he said, Stephanie Rule asked him about, is the party going too far to the left?
Yo, dog, I looked at what I was like, what did he just say that the party's going too far to the left?
Are we talking about the Democratic Party?
Well, they both said that. Yeah.
The Democratic Party is going too far to the left. Like, who is an example of too far left? We saw what happened with Bernie Sanders. Like, who else?
Yeah, where's your example? Where's the example of if the party's being led by individuals who are going too far to the left?
Like, hold on, didn't Bernie Sanders end up supporting Hillary Clinton and campaign for Hillary Clinton? How far left is that?
So
too far left?
Hillary Clinton and Kane. They're too far left.
Whoa. Okay.
Those were the party's nominees for president and vice president. So
now the last thing we want to talk about was one of the last things he said in that video clip. She asked him about the tax reform. She asked about does he believe that this tax reform plan does he believe that it's going to get passed? Because if it didn't, it will be a really bad look for Paul Ryan and the Republicans, because they will have really no legislative wins for 2017. Does he think it's actually going to get passed? What was his answer?
He said something about them being bigots, anti-Semites, and they're caustic,
and they wanted to start a civil war. Now he just veered off onto a path that I don't think has anything to do with the conversation. No, the conversation was about their efforts to implement their tax reform into legislation. Why did you change the subject into bigotry?
You know why?
Anti-Semitism.
You know why? Because the question wasn't about Democrats. Because he couldn't have the same answer, because that's where his money goes. He couldn't have that same talking point with Republicans because he doesn't give money to, or most of the money goes to Democrats. So he can't have that same talking point. He can't express his victimhood as a millionaire and a billionaire, because the question was about Paul Ryan and Republicans. Yeah. So the only gripe he could come up with bigots, anti-Semites, the caustic.
But see, that was
civil war.
But see, that was a good question though, because I would really like to, because this man that has done tremendously well for himself and who is wealthy and who has a corporation, I would really be interested in what you feel about what is being proposed in this tax reform legislation. I really want to know, because we know that it's a massive handoff to the wealthy and corporations.
So what you're saying?
Somebody like him.
Okay. So what you're saying is the context to any Democrat speaking out about this Republican tax bill. It's almost, they have to talk about it because it is kind of, it's on the extreme side. So any talks or any talking points that Democrats offer is based on what Republicans have presented.
Yes. But he didn't say nothing.
But he didn't say nothing.
He didn't say nothing. And see, if you do some investigating into this dude, right? Now you can take a look at his Twitter handle, see some of the things that he's posted. Because I was really interested. I'm like, okay, all right. You say you're a Democrat. You say, I believe in this clip too, he was talking, not in the clip that we showed you, but in the full interview, he talked about making the tax code simple and how he believes in democratic principles. So I looked up this guy. Yeah, okay, so he believes in banning semi-automatic weapons. He believes in banning the bump fire stocks. He supports abortion rights, Planned Parenthood, civil rights. He also, after Las Vegas, he donated, I believe it was $400,000 or $600,000 into the GoFundMe account for the victims' families. So yeah, those are some good things. Sure, no, yeah, those are some good things. And on Twitter, as it relates to taxes, he suggested that he supported raising the child tax credit. Okay, child tax credit. Okay, that's great. But Republicans have done that as well. Marco Rubio has suggested the same thing, that he wants to raise the child tax credit. So okay, all right, those are good things, no doubt. Okay, but as it relates to taxes, okay,
as it relates to him, something that affects him.
So on Twitter, he said multiple times that the tax code should be simple. Keep it simple. Now, he has never expanded his thought process. He has never really got into how you make that simple.
Okay, there we're getting into the word games.
Yeah.
First, he used the word aspirations,
right,
as opposed to using the word greed,
right,
to kind of like, I guess, conflate the issue, or conflate the two, to confuse the issue.
Right.
So now, what word is he using?
Simple.
Simple. So what do you think he means by that, Will?
Keep it simple. I mean,
simple. What? Keep it simple.
I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I mean, don't got to be specific, but what kind of sentiment is he trying to like put out there? Like he just said, I just wanted to be simple. You know, that's all I want. You know, he's trying to act like
he wants to keep most of his money, man.
All right, there you go.
That's it.
That's it. That's it.
He doesn't want to be taxed heavily, straight up.
That's it.
But then, okay, look more into his Twitter history, right? Now, one day in, it was, I think it was October. When was the debate? I can't remember the debate. But anyway, you remember the Bernie Sanders Ted Cruz debate that they had on tax reform that we talked about? I believe that was early. Yeah, it was early October. On the same day, at the same time during that debate, he tweeted out, he said, Bernie Sanders is insane. Make tax code simple. Now, I don't know exactly what Bernie Sanders was discussing at the time, but we talked a little bit about that debate and the things that he was talking about. He was talking about education, healthcare, and how you can make moves with that through taxes. So again, I don't know exactly what his problem was, but I would take a stab at it and say that it may have had something to do with him possibly having to pay more taxes. And he didn't like that.
He didn't like that. So it doesn't matter, like whether it's really simple or not.
No,
it really doesn't matter whether it's simple or not.
No, I don't think it
matters whether it's going to affect him.
Yes.
I mean, basically, the people who benefit from capitalism and benefit from this system don't want to put anything back into it.
No doubt, man. They want to leave that burden to the middle class, like has been being done since the 60s. That burden has been shifting to the middle class as wealthy people and businesses, corporations, has been paying less and less and less in taxes. Now, in late October, this was one tweet that this was a response to Nancy Pelosi. She just was talking about join me to discuss GOP budget, and then she said, and billionaires first tax plan, because like we said, this tax plan that they've been offering to the American people is something that is a giveaway to the wealthiest people in our country and to corporations. So his response: don't use words billionaires or millionaires. Nasty, not nice.
Like I said before. Again, our heart goes out to
man. He's hurt.
Our heart goes out to Klubeck, because we understand that kind of he's been castigated for no reason,
just for being a billionaire,
just for being
just because he has so much money. People are attacking him just because he has so much money. It couldn't be that billionaires like him lobby Congress to pay less taxes to get done what they want to get done. That is to the detriment of regular.
So he's trying to make it look like he is being disenfranchised.
Poor billionaire, poor millionaires. It's nasty. It's not nice.
Just by saying it. Just the word itself, it's a slur.
And again, we have to keep focusing on the shape of this conversation. It relates to Democrats. What Democrats are saying, you bad billionaires, you bad billionaires.
The fact
it's
that
your fault.
The fact that he thinks that the Democrats have moved too much to the left That's kind of eye opening right there. You know what I'm saying? Because like, are the Democrats like do people see the Democrats as not corporate, or not the corporate party? Do people?
I think people do.
So he wants them to be
even more
corporate,
and like I said, Nancy
or
Pelosi,
more corporately owned.
She said billionaires first tax plan, right? Now, if you are for the interest of the regular American person,
she didn't say fuck billionaires.
Yeah, she didn't say that. She didn't say I hate billionaires, I hate millionaires. She said that this tax plan is a massive handout to the billionaires, and it seems like you have a problem with that.
And no. See, that's the thing. See. He's okay. He's okay with that. He's okay when he's the one getting handouts.
Right.
But he's not okay when Democrats want to look out for the middle class.
So you think he would be opposed to some kind of tax reform that would give us universal health care and tuition-free colleges and universities?
The ironic part of it is that he doesn't. These mugs are so greedy. They don't even realize that helping the middle class out is actually helping them out. That's how their greed. They're so blinded by their greed they can't even see that. That's the funny part about it.
Because a thriving middle class
would
help your bottom line.
Because the way the economy, what our economy is based on, and how it functions, a highly functioning middle class would be, positive for them. Would be a positive for them. It doesn't even.
Their greed doesn't even have logic to it. Man. All right, so let's stay with taxes for a second. So today, Thursday, the Senate Republicans have released their version of tax reform. So it differs with the House plan in a few different ways. First, they were going to retain the adoption tax credit. Now, we talked about that on Tuesday, how the House plan is wanting to eliminate that that deduction for people that opt to adopt kids, because it can be somewhere, the adoption cost can run somewhere $25,000 to $40,000, and the credit provides savings of up to $13,570, one-time fee per adoption. So they were going to so their plan is to retain that that deduction. Now, today as well, there was an amendment in the House that said that they were going to retain that deduction now, because of all of the backlash that has been brought about since it has been released, since they've been having these hearings on the House Ways and Means Committee, talking about that's been released that they were planning on cutting that deduction. So the backlash was from people, of course, people on the left side, Democrats or liberals, whatever you want to call them, but also some conservatives and anti-abortion groups. They were like, that is crap. What are you doing? You can't slash that. Especially anti-abortion groups too, because they're like, hold on. We want more kids being born. Of course, that's going to lead to probably more adoption cases.
It's illogical. It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah,
it's like the means in which they're using is going to create the ends that they don't want.
I know, it's crazy. But anyway, like I said, yeah, they did present an amendment, and they are now planning to retain that deduction. So also in the Senate version of the tax reform bill, they're going to delay the corporate tax cut by 1 year, so it'll be effective in 2019. Now that is splitting with Donald Trump, because he wants it done as soon as possible. I mean, he wants it done right now. As soon as he puts pen to the legislation, he wants that corporate rate cut to 20%. Now, it's going to create some
friction.
Yeah, some friction within the Republican Party because of the two different stances on that. But to me, it's like, there's really no difference. You're still going to get there.
You're still going to get there.
Yeah,
to me, delaying it a year is actually not a compromise.
No, it's not.
That's not a compromise.
No,
you're not, because you're not giving anything up. You're just delaying it.
Yeah, and both want to make it permanent. Both want to make it permanent.
Was Cornyn said that? The Republican majority whip.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he want. Now, how the hell? Like, he basically wants to make this low tax rate for corporations like non-negotiable forever.
Right. but it would have to take the act of Congress to get rid of it.
Like to even request that, like non-negotiable. And non-negotiable policy.
And again, by cutting it to 20% when the effective tax rate is below 20% right now. It's at 18.6, and there's a lot of corporations that pay between 0 and 10. A lot of corporations that pay 0 that get a rebate check from the government. You really we should feel bad. We should feel like these corporations are getting handed like the dirty or something. Like they can't operate.
See, we just talked about this in the previous story. This is an example of how these billionaires are being disenfranchised. Will we just talked about this?
Yeah, that's true. Also, in the Senate version of the tax reform bill, they're going to maintain the mortgage interest deduction. And they're also going to, so there's been a lot of noise about the state and local taxes deduction, because that's going to raise taxes for a lot of middle class people, and it's upper middle class people. Those are the ones that usually take advantage of that deduction, but a lot of them are in blue states like California and New York, but also Texas as well, which is a red state. But anyway, in the House version, they're going to allow people to deduct $10,000 from their property taxes, but in the Senate version, they're killing it completely killing the state and local taxes deduction. So,
it just seems as if at every stage they're taking any kind of deduction away from the middle class, but they're giving deductions to the wealthy,
giving reductions to the wealthy, and retaining all the loopholes that they use to keep more of their money. Retaining them. Also, the last thing I want to say about it is the Senate version is going to have 7 tax brackets, with the lowest being 10.
Well, wait a second. I thought Trump wanted like a simple 3. What was it? 3 levels?
Yeah, he wanted 3
levels.
But in the House, it's actually 4. In the House bill is 4, with the lowest being 12.
And that one right there has 7.
And the Senate one has 7.
So we're not gonna have anywhere near. We're gonna have way more than 3. We're not gonna be near 3.
No.
It looks like it's gonna be 7.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be 7.
That's not simple.
Yo, this is a mess. It's a mess, man. But
that's not Klubeck simple. Yeah. What you talking about?
That would probably be the only thing that he's mad about. But either plan though, like we said, they're just differently going to screw over the middle class in different ways. They're like I said, they're just a few different ways that the Senate wants to screw over the middle class. But best believe both plans are a massive giveaway to the richest people in this country and to the corporations that already pay very low, if not any, taxes. So, but I wonder where this will go, because like we've said before, because this is going to add trillions to the deficit, they're going to need Democratic support, and with the way these things are looking, they're not going to get it. So just like Stephanie Rule was saying in that video clip, does he think it's going to actually get passed? Because this will be a really bad look for Paul Ryan and the Republicans. I don't believe they're going to have any legislative wins on the books for 2017. And it is going to be a bad look. It's going to be a bad look for Congress. It's going to be a bad look for Trump.
Yeah.
All right, so staying with the Republicans. So we've talked about DACA a few times, and how these individuals, these 700,000 to 800,000 people that had their temporary status, they had their temporary legal status revoked by Donald Trump just a couple of months ago. They're being used as leverage so that the Republicans can get exactly what they want. So there has been some movement. It's not anything solidified yet, maybe, but there's a representative in the House. His name is Dave Bratt from Virginia, and he said that the Republicans are eyeing 3 components to a plan that he believes must be part of any legislation to protect these DACA individuals. So the 3 parts are: 1, an effort to discourage chain migration; 2, the creation of a mandatory e-verify system to deter hiring immigrants in the country illegally; and 3, the elimination of the diversity visa program. Of course.
See, the second one. See, the second one I don't have a problem with.
Right.
The second one I really don't have a problem with. But the first and the third.
Yeah.
They try to sandwich the one that like is the actual logical thing that makes sense. But the 2, the other 2, because
the diversity visa training program, right? Or the diversity visa program, the lottery program.
The diversity visa program came most under fire after
New York, after the Manhattan truck attack.
Something has to be done about this.
Yes,
Trump
and
said.
Donald Trump brought that up. It's a Chuck Schumer beauty, even though this is already something that is.
He actually didn't. Flake already kind of acknowledged that it was Schumer that kind of tried to work to reform it.
Yeah, I know. This is a system that is already being vetted pretty highly. Okay, I mean, it takes a while for these individuals to be approved under this lottery program. So,
he sees the word lottery. He says it. He thinks it's literal,
and not like, oh, here's a ticket. Here, come on over. On a boat, plane.
Yeah,
here you go.
It's like Willy Wonka's golden ticket.
Yeah.
Willy Wonka's
I'll set you up
golden
in Trump Towers. No, it's not like that, man. They have to be heavily vetted. It's just that these the lottery program is available to people in certain areas where there's not a lot of immigration coming from. They're in areas, like I said, that immigration usually does not come from. So
that's what it was initially designed for.
And again, it was signed into legislation in 1990 by a Republican, George Bush, the Republican. Anyway, but yeah, those are the 3 things that Bratt said has to be inside the legislation. And he did not say, he did not assert that if he was given those things, these measures, that these DACA individuals would get either citizenship or legal status. He didn't make that case. Because, a lot of these Republicans are like, no, they're not getting citizenship. Absolutely not.
But see, and that's the thing, like, the typical reasons these Republicans use to why they shouldn't get citizenship don't actually line up with DACA recipients, because they are in school. They can't have like any criminal record.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They have to be in school, a job, they have no criminal record. So it's like they actually are contributing to society. So why the necessity to kind of
why treat them like they're
not citizens? Because it has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with them being productive members of society. It's just this very obvious form of nativism. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it is. I mean, if you think about it, like, what is going to be the consequences to just a mass exodus of all these people who contribute to the tax base? Number one, what are these Republicans thinking? That somehow, like, if you go to any of these kind of like I don't know, job sites where there's a lot of immigrants that are working, if you look at the lines of people who are kind of vying for these jobs, it's nothing but them. Like, I guess there's this idea that somehow like non-immigrants or individuals who don't come from like Mexico or anywhere in South America will just, all those individuals that are standing in those lines for those jobs will just magically be replaced.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Magically be replaced. Like, when you go, see where these people are getting jobs at, you don't see, you don't see your typical Americans, what they call, quotes, typical Americans in those lines. I guess they're thinking that those lines will now be filled with true Americans.
Yeah, like automatically too.
Automatically. Yeah. So I mean, I think their nativism is going to bite them in the butt.
some of the moderate Republicans are insisting that a clean DREAM Act be passed, because I mean, there are some that want to do the right thing by these DACA recipients, because again, like, the numbers are overwhelming. Over 90% are in the workforce or in education. So, and you know, all of them do not have criminal records. So it's the worst thing in the world to do as a country for these people that have been here for years, some decades, that have only known this country as home, but now you're using their backs as leverage to get what you want done. And there's actually, on Wednesday, there was a group of 25 Democrats that they indicated that they would hold up the end of the year spending bill. They wouldn't vote on it, and they might, well, because of that, they would risk a government shutdown if there is not the component of a clean DREAM Act involved. So December is shaping up to be a very contentious month, because, like we said, I mean, there's going to be tax reform that's going to be discussed. There's going to be DACA that's going to be discussed. There's going to be the spending bill.
Before we move on to our next topic, since we are finished with this topic, I want to address somebody in the comment section who is talking kind of greasy, like they know what they're talking about, because I see where they're going with this. It says, we can have quotas against immigrants from countries that are primarily black and brown, but we can't have quotas in affirmative action for students or jobs. So right there, whoever that person is, V Cubed, is associating, because they talked about brown and black countries. Now, you didn't say anything about brown and black people when you mentioned affirmative action, but when you juxtapose those two things together, that is what you're getting at. And if you knew anything about affirmative action law, quotas are illegal. What government, companies who contract out to government, they have to consider black people. Most affirmative action laws are mostly not even enforceable, because they pass the law without really having an enforcement mechanism. If affirmative action worked upon quotas like you say they are, you would not go into a business and see all white people, but you do, don't you? You've gone into a business wherever you live at and seen nothing but white people. Why is that? Because it's not a quota system. You're just talking out of your ass. And it's kind of interesting when the topic of affirmative action comes up, somehow white women don't get talked about. Because that's kind of how your comment reads when you talk about black and brown countries and you juxtapose that with talking about affirmative action and quotas and affirmative action laws, but you somehow never mention white women.
No, I think you misunderstand them, though.
What?
I think you're misunderstanding them, man.
But I don't understand. But but still, though, that's still incorrect. That's still incorrect. Like that's still framed incorrectly. If you're going to talk about affirmative action, you're saying that quotas are wrong. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I don't think that's what he was talking about.
But what I can't tell what he's talking about. But I still think it's wrong to juxtapose affirmative action with quotas. And you're talking about brown and black countries. So it kind of sounds like you're talking about brown and black people over here in regards to what kind of affirmative action they take advantage of. So I don't understand where you're getting at.
Well, maybe he'll quote a little bit more, and maybe we can get him on to talk about it, man. We got to move on, man. But yeah, let's move on. All right, so after Las Vegas, after the shooting that killed 58 people and injured hundreds more just last month, October 1st, I believe, there's been a lot of talk about bump fire stocks, the accessory to a semi-automatic weapon that is used to translate or transfer a semi-automatic weapon into an automatic weapon. Now, It's legally purchased in the United States of America. Some states it's not legal, but you can purchase it online. And the creator of that slide, the creator of the bump fire stock that was used in Las Vegas is Slide Fire Solutions. And the founder is a guy named Jeremiah Cottle. Now, again, after this heinous attack took place, there was a lot of talk about these bump fire stocks, and there was a lot of talk about it on the Hill in Congress, and some Republicans in suggesting that they would be willing to do something about it, that they would be willing to ban it in America from sale and from ownership. Even the NRA said something to that degree, but then later on, of course, they clarified that remark and said that they had no interest in actually banning a legal purchase, a legal product that's here in America already. And then Paul Ryan even said that it doesn't need a legislative fix; it needs a, what did he say? A regulative.
Well, he said something about like that's.
A regulatory fix. Yeah, regulatory fix. Yeah, which doesn't make any damn sense whatsoever. But anyway, now it seems that there's going to be a class action lawsuit to go after the makers and the sellers of these bump fire stocks. So this is a quote. Let's see. This is a quote from Politico. The Brady Center to Prevent Gun Violence and Egglet Prince Law Firm have filed a class action lawsuit against the makers and sellers of bump stocks on behalf of survivors who suffered emotional or psychological harm from the attack. The suit alleges that Slide Fire, among other as yet unnamed defendants, recklessly and indiscriminately marketed and sold these products to the public, despite the predictable outcome of a tragedy like the Vegas shooting, and in deliberate disregard for the spirit of long-standing laws banning fully automatic weapons. So, great news. I think it's absolutely great news. Our politicians seem like they are incapable of doing anything as it relates to gun reform, anything that has to do with guns or accessories or anything like that. So I'm very happy to hear this news that there's actually going to be a class action lawsuit. Now, we know as these things go that it's hard to sue the gun industry, and that's because of the PLCAA, which is the stands for the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, and that was signed. And it was a legislation. It was a bill that was signed into law in 2005 by President George W. Bush. So what that does, it really removes any kind of culpability for sellers and makers of firearms from any, like I said, from any culpability if something happens. So they can't be sued. They have like an immunity that is pretty much impenetrable. A lot of people have tried to get past that, but they have not been successful. There was one case I was reading that after the Aurora shooting at the movie theater, somebody, one of the parents of one of the victims, tried to sue the I believe the seller, because they sold thousands of rounds of ammunition, and they didn't actually even want any monetary relief. They weren't even suing for any monetary relief. They were just suing so that they could bring awareness to this and that they would stop these practices, like that they wouldn't do irresponsible stuff like this again. So
they weren't really being held like fully accountable. They just wanted them to kind of change how they approached it.
Yes. Well,
so they could basically give them a chance.
Yes. Case was tossed out, of course, and that the people that brought forth the lawsuit they were in the end responsible for the defendant legal costs, which came to over $200,000, and they tried to fight it for a while, but just earlier this year they filed for bankruptcy. I mean, like shit like that, like that just makes you incredibly angry. But anyway, so like I said, it's incredibly hard to fight against that PLCAA. But this might be a different situation.
Yeah, because it's kind of, if as a plaintiff, you have to kind of prove motive and intent. Right. That's why it's so difficult. It's not just because of the Protection of Firearms Act.
Right. So in this instance, though, the suit isn't against a gun manufacturer. In fact, Slyfire's founder, Jeremiah Cottle, took pains to assure his product was not classified as a gun or an integral gun part. In 2010, he sent a prototype of his bump stock design to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Farms and Explosives, asking them to affirm that his device is not subject to the same laws that regulate firearms. The ATF agreed. In a twist of irony, though, the same ATF evaluation also pushes the bump stock out of the category of qualified products that are protected by PLCAA, or at least that's the foundational theory on which the suit is based.
So it sounds like Cottle wants it both ways.
He does. He wants it
to be protected, but he doesn't want it to be classified as some sort of component to a firearm.
Right. Now, why would he do that?
Why would he do that? That sounds to me like he's trying to misrepresent his product. And that tells me he has a guilty conscience. Because if if you thought there was, nothing going to transpire, there were no consequences for putting this on the market, then you would not have to kind of misrepresent your product like that. You know what I'm saying? If you think there was, a legitimate use for it, now, you know what I'm saying? Like, why would you have to be dishonest about it? Why would you have to kind of smuggle it into the market?
Right. So when he did send his product to the ATF to be inspected, and they gave him the go-ahead. They gave him the go-ahead to go ahead and start selling it. It's not an integral part of a firearm. So it's, like I said, he's not a firearm company. He's not in that industry. What else? So this lawsuit is also citing a letter that was sent to the ATF by Jeremiah Cottle when he sent the product to them for them to inspect it. And in the letter, it says something about how its intended use was for people that had
he said I guess it was intended to assist the disabled,
like that had
problems with their fingers, their hand,
dexterity or something.
That's the letter he sent.
Yes.
But in all the ads and the promotion of this product, this bump stock, there was nothing contained that I guess illustrated that being a one of the uses for it.
No, actually, he in a 2016 interview for the website ammoland.com, Cottle said, "An automatic weapon is one that fires multiple shots with a single pull of the trigger. With the slide fire, you still have to pull the trigger each time it fires. The slide fire does not change the mechanics of the firearm. It simply enables the shooter to pull the trigger very rapidly."
Yeah.
Now we're gonna read a different comment from that same interview, but first let's deal with that. He's full of shit.
Well,
again, he's full of shit.
Wait a second. First, if it changes how the gun performs, you are changing the mechanics
of the gun. That's one part of it.
The system of parts working together is the mechanism.
Yeah. But then he talked about how you still had to fire the gun. Like you still had to keep firing, like pressing on that trigger. That is so full of it. Like, he couldn't have lied more. He couldn't have lied anymore. It's the actual opposite. It's completely over here. The whole way the way a bump fire stock works is that you must, I repeat, you must hold the trigger finger. You must hold that finger on the trigger firmly. Then with your other hand, you need to push forward on the gun. Then that's what causes it to bump back and forth. You cannot keep doing this, because then it's just going to act as a semi-automatic weapon.
So he's almost trying to say that, like, all the bump stock does is it creates bionic fingers.
Yes, it turns your finger into the bionic woman or something like that.
doesn't do anything to the gun.
$1 Million Man.
It doesn't do anything to the gun. It just transforms your finger to a bionic finger. Bionic
you
appendage.
become a robot now.
Yeah, you become RoboCop.
Like I said, it's the complete other side of that. He completely misrepresented his product. You cannot just keep doing this, because there would be absolutely no difference in a regular semi-automatic weapon. Like, you can put that bump fire stock on, and if you just do this,
but I think,
there's no advantage to having this accessory.
But I think the question is if he really thought his product was legitimately safe. If he really thought that, and he was just an honest businessman. And this product's not going to have any consequences, right? If he really thought that, there would be no need to misrepresent what the product is.
True. And see, the whole reason that he made this product too, because now for years, for decades, people have been messing with guns to try to turn them into guns that create automatic fire. Now, one method has to do with something about hooking a thumb through the gun's trigger, using through a belt loop, and then allowing the gun to slide back and forth with the recoil. Right. That's highly
like inaccurate though.
Yeah, it's not a good method. It's clumsy. It's messy. But with this bump fire stock, you just place it onto the weapon, and you can use a scope. There's no drawback. It's just like it's a gun. It's not bulky. There's no problem with just operating the weapon as it's supposed to be operated. It just turns it into automatic fire. And he knows this. In the same interview with AmmoLand in 2016, the question was asked, who is the slide fire geared to? Okay, Cottle was asked this question. Who is the slide fire geared to? Now, you remember we just talked about how he sent that letter to the ATF saying that it was meant for disabled people.
But see, that was in response to
the ATF.
But that was in response to questions about his product.
Right. That was yes. Because he wanted to be able to sell. He wanted it on the marketplace. But now it's on the marketplace in 2016, and AmmoLand is coming to him, and they're so excited about this product. Who is this product being geared to? This was Jeremiah Cottle's response. Some people like drag racing, some people like skiing, and some people like me love full auto.
I'm trying to read between the lines and to see if I can detect any indication that it was designed to help people who have a disability up around here. I'm trying to read between the lines. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. I can't find it.
Some people like me love full auto. So you know that fully automatic weapons are illegal in this country and have been since 1986. You know that.
Also, it kind of contradicts his other point about the bump stock not changing the mechanism of the gun.
Right. And that you would still have to press the trigger just like you would a regular semi-automatic weapon. Like there's no change. But again, see, he's lying every step of the way. For this accessory to work, you must apply firm and consistent pressure to the trigger. Your other hand must be on the firearm, pushing forward on the gun. That's the only way this product does what it is intended to do. He knows this. He knows that it makes the weapon shoot automatic fire. He said so in this interview on AmmoLand.
Look, it just looks bad on him because he misrepresented his product and he was being dishonest. And I don't know how people can excuse that. And if he was kind of and if he approached it that way, if he approached the ATF that way, then obviously in his mind he understands the consequences to his product. That's all.
And like I said, look, so like I said, it seems like they're going to be able to get around the PLCAA because again, he's not part of the gun industry because he didn't want to be. right?
But he wants the same protection.
Yeah, he wants the same protection, but you're not gonna get the same protection. And
reason,
like I said, if you look back in his history and his own words, who is this product geared to? It's geared to people that love full auto, and you know it's illegal. You go back to what was said, right?
So he's
it says deliberate disregard for the spirit of long-standing laws banning fully automatic weapons. You knew that automatic fire was illegal in the United States of America, but you said, man, forget that. People love automatic fire. I'm getting around the law.
We're gonna follow that.
Oh yeah, we're gonna follow that because they have a case. They seriously have a case, and I hope they are successful. I hope that these and maybe it takes something like this, a big case like this, to get the congressmen moving, because our senators and our representatives.
It didn't have to come. It didn't have to come to this.
It didn't have to come to this. Again, we were right after the Las Vegas attack. Days after, they were talking about it. Now where are we at? Nobody's talking about it whatsoever. Nobody's talking about it. Automatic gunfire is legal in the United States of America. Slide fire, right after the shooting, they suspended the any sales. They weren't taking sales anymore. But just a couple days later,
they reopened.
Opened it back up for business. Yeah, give me all the money. Now I'm gonna sell it again. Everybody's selling them just like they were before. Automatic fire, legal in the United States of America. Automatic weapons, not legal. What kind of sense does that make? Also, in the Sutherland Springs attack in Texas just days ago, there's some thought that the victims' families may be able to sue the government in that case as well.
Yeah, that seems like a case that is pretty likely that they'll win, seeing as the military failed to enter Kelly into the database. That was that's negligence.
Exactly. And the government is not protected under PLCAA. They're not protected
because they're not a gun manufacturer.
Yeah, they can't use that. So there's still some steps that need to be made. And actually, I don't believe a lawsuit has been filed against the government yet. But like we said, it seems like if they actually did want to bring forth a lawsuit, seems like they have a good chance of actually coming to some agreement, winning the case or coming to a settlement or something like that, because there was absolutely negligence on the Air Force's part. Absolutely. And that, I mean, like, if not worse, like they intended on doing that.
That's going to be hard to prove.
I know, but I don't know if they even have to prove that. They have to prove
it's still negligence. Yeah. That's all I have to prove.
Either way.
Whether it be that was intentional or not.
Yeah. Either way, they did something that they should not have done.
It's already been established that they were supposed to.
Yes.
They were supposed to enter them into the database.
All right. Last story that we have for you. All right, so there's this guy named Frank Nucera, and he is the former police chief in Bordentown Township in New Jersey. Now, earlier this year in January, he suddenly retired from the force. This was after 34 years on the job. Now, why did he retire? Just recently, he has been charged with a hate crime for allegedly attacking a handcuffed black teen and shouting out racial slurs afterwards. So this whole attack stems around an incident that happened September 1st, 2016. So police were called to this hotel because there were two individuals, a man and a woman, young man and a woman, that were there and they hadn't paid their bill. And I believe they were by the pool or something like that at the time. Police came and they arrested them. So officers were leading him, I guess, to the police car, and that's when Officer Frank Nucera showed up, and it said that the male suspect started shouting, but he wasn't fighting. He just started shouting, but he wasn't fighting. He wasn't kicking you. He wasn't trying to get away or anything like that. He just started shouting. Officer Nucera took his head and slammed it into a door jamb. Now, I remember as a kid, I punched a door jamb before because I was very upset. I was enraged at my sister. I remember this. I think I was like 13 years old, and I walked down the hallway, punched the door jamb. 2 seconds later, I'm like, that was stupid as what. My hand swole up like I couldn't believe it. This dude slammed a man's head into a door jamb. Officer Frank Nussera. This is this guy. And again, this is where these charges stem from. There was another incident in 2015 that's coming out now because of officers that was with him. Like officers, I mean, like people that know him are actually, fellow officers are actually coming out and speaking about their dealings with them. Before they said that they were too scared. They didn't want to report on him. Of course, he was the police chief. Like I said, they didn't feel comfortable with it. But in this 2015 incident involving another black suspect, he said, he confided in another officer. He said, "These niggers are like ISIS. They have no value. They should line them all up and mow them down. I'd like to be the one on the firing squad. I could do it."
So what we have here is there's no laws that effectively like explicitly say, you know, hey, black people are ISIS, you can mow them down. There's no laws that explicitly say that. That's his attitude, right? And see, no, I think this ties into the conversations we've had before about dealing with certain attitudes and addressing them head on, because there are people who are in positions of power whose, I guess, actions are affected by their attitudes. This is where talk about policy and talk about laws is inconsequential, because there's no laws that explicitly reflect those sentiments. But I guarantee you those sentiments will explicitly affect how he deals with and engages with people he comes in contact with in regard to his job. And that's the problem.
And he had multiple roles inside this community as well. He worked at the high school, I believe, in some capacity, maybe as security. He's had different roles within this community over the years, and of course have had to deal with black people. There's also allegations to where he used police dogs to intimidate black people at the high school, black students at the high school.
And see, that's the thing. He's creating that's the thing. That's what these attitudes do. They're not really going after criminals or guilty parties. They're just trying to create. He's just trying to create an excuse to go after everyone that looks a certain way.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So, and there's no telling like how many lives he's destroyed. These are just reports.
These are just
reports. They're just coming
34
clean.
years.
34 years. There's no telling how many lives he destroyed. You know what I'm saying? So,
and this is why we and so many other people around the country are calling for police reform. The reason why it's so important is because of officers just like this. He's had 34 years on the job. Fellow officers were scared or felt like either they were scared to report on him, they felt the same way as him, whatever the case. They failed to report on a fellow bad officer.
For like, and you have to consider that it's not like he just became like this last week.
I know.
Or last year, or in 2 years. This is not, you know what I'm saying? You don't have that type of jaded life perspective, like just out of nowhere. That's something that's developed.
Right. And this is why there needs to be more scrutiny on law enforcement, because see, this is why it's a problem. This is not an isolated incident. All across the country we've seen, I believe it was in San Francisco, text messages between officers spreading racist material around. We've seen this all over the country. Now again, it's not an isolated incident, and the reason why we know that is because of these certain other cases that come out. But another reason why we know that is because regular citizens, there's racism among us. So if there's racism among us, who do you think that's going to spread to?
I mean, because it's just going to flow into everything else. It's really not that surprising. It's not.
surprising.
It's actually not that extraordinary.
No.
It's like wherever society is, it's going to wherever society is, as far as like, I guess some sort of macro kind of attitude about something, it's going to filter into everything. So I don't know why people think somehow law enforcement has been spared.
By putting on the shield, you are not relieved of the human condition. You are not relieved of human character and your prejudices, your biases. You're not relieved of that. You are the same person, the same exact person. And see, that's why it's troublesome. That's why we actually do need a higher scrutinized law enforcement. We need, like not everybody should be a law enforcement officer. Not just because they can't handle the job, maybe like they're stress-wise, they're not good with fear, a gun, whatever the case. It's because of their own biases and their prejudices.
Because they can be seen as mentally capable,
right, even
when they have bad attitudes.
Yes.
And that's the sad part. They're mentally capable to do a job, right? But are they mentally capable? To me, they're not.
They're mentally capable to do a job for some people. For some people.
Well, they're not doing the job.
No, they're not. That, like I said, that's why we need law enforcement reform. It's the only way. And the only way we're gonna get there, though, is for people to stop making excuses for these officers. Stop making excuses, because it's not just, we've had this conversation before, you said it, it's not just people at the top. It's not our president, it's not governors, it's not mayors, it's not our politicians. It's regular people that are in Facebook chats that say, nah, man, that police officer, he was in fear for his life. It's nah, I don't see anything wrong with this situation. That guy should have stopped moving. Why did he run?
Well, if you think about, I guess how his subordinates felt about coming forward, what they say? They said that they were scared. Yeah. They were apprehensive about coming forward because of his stature. Yeah. I think probably that apprehensiveness is more apparent in people that are closer to people like him, like family. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So I think that's where a lot of the enabling happens. It's not just on the job, it's at the home and with friends. Like you said, a lot of times when you get into arguments about matters like these on social media or Facebook, turns out that person has a cop as a father or uncle or a mother, so they automatically have this bias that you think they're talking about the profession and not the person, and not the person with the attitude. It's so like what happens is they
the question you call everyone,
and so they kind of acting as enablers. You know what I'm saying?
They are actually doing the job of enabling bad policing.
So it's not just their co-workers. It's us too.
Yeah, it's us at every turn, man. We see these cases, we see all these videos, and you would think do you remember the second video that came out of Philando Castile? The second video, where you could see from the dash cam exactly what happened. For people to still excuse that officer's behavior after that video was made public is horrible. I mean, we need to do better. I mean, that's just it. But what's it gonna take to actually do that? Like, we've said that before too. In McDonald's, you have cameras.
Actually, most
scrutinizing these employees.
Most retail stores and fast food locations have cameras.
Yes.
Walmart, Target, Kmart, Buy Low.
But we are trusting officers with the power and the authority to end lives. We're entrusting them with doing the right thing without mandating that they are scrutinized at the highest level.
Imagine if somebody working the fry station turned the camera off.
What? You turn that camera off?
And they work
Gone.
They work the fry station.
Gone.
They have a
What'd you do when the camera wasn't off, man? Nah, you gotta get out of here. You know that was out of bounds. Nah,
we hold fast food workers to a higher level of scrutiny. Police officers.
And they ain't taking no lives.
They ain't taking no lives. Well, maybe, because some of that food gross. Maybe they are taking lives. I just laugh. Some of that food doesn't help it.
All that grease, right?
All that grease, man.
All right, man. Yeah, we come to the end of the program. Yeah, Gene. Yeah, Philando Castile's murder turns my stomach up every time I think of it. When I remember that video. That second video came out while we were not doing this program earlier this year, and I remember I wasn't paying attention to many things during that time, and it took me a few weeks afterwards for me to actually see the video. And it's like stained in my brain. You know, the first video was bad enough, but to actually see it play out, because we didn't see it played out on that first video. Mm-hmm. The girlfriend had started taping after he was shot. To see it unfold like that.
I mean, and I think, I mean, I'm not going to I think it's disrespectful to just rank any of these situations, but I think I view that Philando Castile situation the same way I view the Sandra Bland situation, almost, although her death didn't occur till she was in the jail.
Yeah, in the jail.
And then the Tamir Rice situation, and then also John Crawford. Also, what's the Eric Garner as well?
Yeah, Eric Garner. Yeah. It's disgusting. And like I said, sadly, unfortunately, we have people excusing the behavior of these actions. It's deplorable. It's I'm not sure that there's an adjective strong enough, really. Like you said, it turns your stomach. It absolutely horrible. And I can't get that video in my head, seriously. Every time I think about it, man. Disgusting. Yeah, but yeah, all right. Anyway, what people got for us? If anybody wants to give us a call, and you can go in that. What was the dude's name? Man?
I don't know what he's trying to get at. I don't know what he's trying to get at.
VQ.
I really don't know. I think it's, even if his intent was not bad, it's still framed in an improper way. Regardless of what the intent was, it's still framed improperly, because as soon as you start talking about affirmative action and associate that with just black and brown people, again, regardless of what your intent was, regardless of what point you're trying to make, is framed improperly, considering that white women are actually the highest beneficiaries of affirmative action. So whatever point you're making in associating affirmative action, whether it be quotas or even talking about maybe some misconception of affirmative action, the first misconception comes by only associating it with brown and black people. That was my main point. Even if you're going into a conversation and trying to be constructive, or if you're trying to go into the conversation with pure motives, that still has to be corrected, especially when talking about affirmative action, saying as black and brown people are not the primary beneficiaries. That's all I was trying to get at, you know what I'm saying? So even regardless of what place you were coming from, it still has to come from a place of proper foundation, and that's not the proper foundation, bro.
Gene said we need to legalize drugs. Abuse from cops would drop. No doubt, man. We have said that so many times. We going back to before we even started this program, we've talked about drugs, and it needs to be decriminalized. I'm talking about every single drug out there needs to be decriminalized. Just knock it off the books. There's a country, Portugal, maybe you've heard of it. They decriminalized drugs back in 2001, I believe. And if you look at what's happening now, their rate of drug use is significantly less than other countries, especially if you're talking about in Europe. Significantly less. Now, of course, I believe like if you take the next year after they decriminalize drugs, there's a spike because everybody's like, what? You decriminalized it? This is not a crime anymore? Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and what's that? CVS
That's what you just reminded me about that.
Yeah,
that just reminded me of that.
But yeah, of course, there's gonna be a spike and people are gonna be running to these drugs. But then, like, if you take away, if you take away the sexiness of it, like the badness of it, the like how it's so what's the word I want to use?
Attractive. Provocative and attractive.
Yeah. If you take that away, less people are going to want to do it because people want to be bad. They want to kind of
experiment.
Tempt.
They want to experiment.
Yeah, they kind of want to be bad sometimes and want to test boundaries.
So basically, it's
test
like
the rule of law sometimes
within like the pantry of life.
Mm-hmm.
You open up a pantry. A kid opens up a pantry, and you see like all these cookies and cakes. That's how they see these drugs.
Yes,
they don't see it as like bread. Or like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like some regular looking stuff.
Right.
Because it's in their mind, it's the cookies and the cakes and the pies.
Yes.
So they got to go after it.
Yeah, but when it's decriminalized, if it's decriminalized for
it's not going to look like it's not going to look like cookies.
It's not going to be that sexy. It's not going to be that attractive. They're not going to want it because now it's going to be like, okay, yeah, hold on, this ain't really good for me. I don't want to do this. All right, we got a caller. Caller, you're on the air live with LTMB. What's your name and where are you calling from? Caller, where you at? If you can hear us, maybe they hung up. You. Yeah, if you can hear us, we cannot hear you.
I got it.
All right, caller's gonna have to call back.
Yeah, you got to call us back.
Yeah, we don't hear. But yeah, if everybody wants to take a look at Portugal and what has happened there, it's remarkable, and that's what we need to do here. But of course,
there's too much money to be made.
There's too much money and careers on the line.
Guys.
I mean, what are they gonna do with the DEA? You know, what are they gonna do with that?
You know?
Hello, caller, you're on the air live with LTMB.
Oh, okay. I got to put this thing on hold, otherwise the YouTube on hold, or I can't hear you. How you doing, sweetheart? I'm the V cubed. I am a girl, not a boy. I'm a grandma, actually. And I just wanted to clarify. Can you hear me? Hello? Why don't this thing work?
I don't know what's going on, but we can't hear anything.
You can't hear me? Hey, you hear me now?
I don't know what's going on. I can hear that. I can hear the phone hanging up.
So if I'm assuming the person who tried to call is watching the show, so if the person who tried to call,
yeah, you can keep calling back.
Is
you're not hearing anything, right?
I'm not hearing anything. We can hear all of our desktop audio. So
who this?
Will and Mike.
I know, right?
Mike, Will, can you hear me?
But see, I don't even hear any air coming through.
I don't hear any air. I don't hear any static.
I don't hear any static in the air. So
something is going on with the line. I don't. If it's on our end, I can.
Yeah, if it's on, I
think it's on our line.
Yeah, because there's nothing that looks different.
Yeah, we're gonna have to give this up, man.
Yeah. So again, I'm assuming that the person who's trying to call is watching the show. So if you're the one who is trying to call, just say that was me.
Yeah.
In the chat.
And maybe. Oh, hold on. Are people talking to her? We can hear her. What?
That's crazy. Yo, that's crazy because we cannot hear her. Y'all can hear her, but we can't.
So hold on. So you're telling me you're telling me technical problems have gone to, let's see, okay, we were straight for
weeks,
right?
Weeks.
Then you couldn't hear callers. And you couldn't hear videos. We fixed the caller part. You still couldn't hear video. Then we fixed video because you heard the video earlier on from the millionaire dude.
Mm-hmm.
But now you can't hear callers.
Oh, it was V cubed. Oh, that's funny. All right, you're on the air with LTMB. Give us your name and where you're from. If you can hear us.
Can you hear it now?
They can hear us. We can't hear them.
Yeah. So apparently,
oh Lord, I got this thing cranked
no, but
up
we can hear the. We can hear the.
We can hear the video.
All right. You know what? Let me.
You hear the real person yet?
Let's see.
Yeah.
Nothing is muted.
Yeah, nothing is muted. Nothing is.
No, mine ain't muted either.
Let me see.
I don't know what's up.
That's not
See what happens? Microsoft took over Skype
None
and
of that
jacked
is
it all
muted.
up. I don't know what's wrong with that.
Let me see this.
Dang thing don't working.
Can you hear?
Can you hear us now, or well, can we hear you now? I know you can hear us, but if you would just speak.
I can hear you.
Nope,
You can't hear
Still nothing. Still nothing.
Nothing.
Again, before I would even hear a voice, there would be some sort of like air or some sort of something that would indicate that there was sound coming through, and I don't even hear that. So
You know, I'm laughing because I have no idea what the problem is.
yeah, we never had this problem before, and there's nothing in the settings that we changed. So this is kind of
That's too bad.
deep state trying to shut us down. You know how people do. They're trying to shut us down, trying to shut us operation down.
So let me just go back. Let's go back to the stream and make. She can hear you. Okay, she can hear us.
So she can hear us. Y'all can hear her, but we cannot hear her.
But we cannot hear her. Let me. All right, you know what? I'm gonna put a video on real quick and see if you can hear her.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Somebody says Russia. I'm down with that theory. It's Russia. It must be the Russians.
Tell me if you can hear this.
I can hear. I can hear the video. I can hear the video.
You can hear that. Okay. Okay. You can hear that.
I can hear that.
Huh.
Then Vladimir Putin had infiltrated our live show, dog.
You can hear that. You can hear that.
It was Putin in them.
This is about mics. Huh. That's not gonna do because that has nothing to do with anything. Anything?
Nope. Still nothing.
Nothing. Oh, she wasn't even online anymore.
She wasn't online anymore, so
right.
that wouldn't have. All right, attempt number 5.
65.
Trying
Can you hear
to
me?
hear a caller, and I still don't hear anything.
And you heard the video through the.
I just heard the video.
You heard the video.
I
did.
Okay, you heard the video.
Yes, I still can't hear anything.
I can hear myself
Not
in an
coming through.
echo, but you
This
can't
is so
hear
sad,
me.
man.
I did a test
Properties,
Skype. It was
okay.
fine. I don't know
What
what's
happened
up over there.
was the Russians bought Facebook ad.
Oh,
you hear me?
Nope. Still don't hear nothing.
Nothing. All right.
This is all because the Russians bought Facebook ads. Nope, don't hear nothing. Nope.
Them Russians,
Okay.
I tell you, Putin.
I don't know why you're trying to fix this, dog. The Russians gonna shut us down, dog.
I have
Oh, what y'all talking about?
checked.
Because it would come through right
test
here.
Skype.
You know what? Let's take this off for a second.
Everything was cool. What do you think? You gonna click on something and something gonna happen?
But this is not.
Oh
this
no,
is
I don't
not-
have the
It
echo
doesn't
either.
matter. It doesn't matter if
Yeah,
you take the
that-
headphones
that
out.
doesn't matter.
It shouldn't matter
Yeah, that
because the headphones work
Hey,
based on us
I
being
have
able to hear
figured
audio.
this thing
Yeah.
out.
All right. Now? Anything?
I don't know if they're
I
still
don't know.
online or not.
It's
Yeah,
going
still
online.
somewhere because
No,
I'm
no,
hearing it
still can't
coming
hear
from
anything.
somewhere.
And can people still hear her?
Do you guys hear me?
They're both on. We hear both of them. She's very clear.
She's very clear on Skype. Well, we do apologize. We do want to talk to people, but it's for some reason it's not working.
It's all right, sweetie.
Man, this is that BS right there,
We're
man.
back. Some little
Like, I don't
funny
even-
thing going on
I don't even
somewhere.
have anything to
Yeah,
click.
there's nothing. We didn't try to adjust in every single possible setting that it could be, and I mean,
Sure.
again, we've never had. Once we started the calling feature, we've never had a problem with hearing people. So now all of a sudden we have a problem with hearing callers.
There is nothing on mute. There's absolutely nothing on mute.
Mine either. I can hear myself in
Turn
the
the
echo.
microphone off. No. I'm completely stumped.
Shoot. It's all right. We'll catch you on Tuesday night, I guess.
Our faces look like we don't know what's going on right now.
It's
Yeah,
all
this
right.
is not
We'll
going
try
to
out
work.
Tuesday.
Have absolutely again. We haven't even had this problem.
You know what? I will maybe the next live show. What we'll do is try to take some calls at the beginning on Facebook to see if it's platform related. because we don't know if it's platform related, because we usually take calls at the end of the show, and the latter part of the show is on YouTube only. So what we'll do the next live show is see if we can take some calls on Facebook to see if it's platform based, to see if the problem is platform based.
Sounds like a plan. Y'all are the text.
Because like I said, we have never had this problem before.
It's not.
Yeah, it's very weird. It doesn't seem like it's on this end. I talked to family and lots of friends today.
I don't think it's Skype, man. I think it's either the desktop or the software, the broadcaster. Yeah, I don't think it's Skype. I think it's either the broadcaster. Because remember, that's what what's having the problems with.
But at least
the audience being able to hear the audio.
But at least that made sense, though.
But see, that was
like we had to adjust like these settings right here.
Yeah, true. But that's audio that comes from a different source. You see what I'm saying? Skype, that audio is being patched in.
Yeah.
So the audio, the audio and the video are from sources that are native to your computer. You know what I'm saying? So they're native to the computer. So I think adjusting that is going to be a little bit different.
Because remember last week, or not last week, Tuesday, remember they called in, somebody called in, and we didn't think they would be able to hear them.
Yeah.
But they heard them and we heard them.
Yeah. So I don't know. It does definitely have to do with sound coming in, not sound that is originates from the computer. So this is...
All I wanted to say, if y'all can hear me, the diversity visa helps African immigrants.
Right on the money. That's right on the money right there.
Yeah, but again, if there was an issue with our headphones or the speakers on the computer, there would be an issue with everything, and not just callers.
How can they hear her? How can they hear her and we can't hear her?
Like I said, that's probably a desktop issue.
Well, I hope she's entertaining you. I hope this caller is she just told her to kill Seth Rich.
I'm a Puerto Rican, all right? I'm
Lord.
trying to be careful.
I mean, I feel you, Cube. Actually, and I think you're partially right, but the Visa Diversity Program was actually intended to help European immigrants, specifically Irish, because they did not have family over here to sponsor them. So that program was actually started because of Irish people, because they didn't have a lot of people over here sponsoring. So they had to develop a program to get a lot of them over here en masse.
That's when it started. So what it does now, it helps African immigrants the most. We loved it when I worked.
All I was saying was, if you just structure your argument about affirmative action and only talk about black and brown people, that's no matter what your your motive is, and not necessarily being like a bigot or a racist, even if it's not to be like that, which I don't think it was.
My point with quotas is that they say
you're
you can't have quotas.
Something that
they say that country limits are not quotas.
Than just black or brown.
They say all this stuff ain't quotas. They are quotas.
The Visa Diversity Program is,
yes,
it does help
they
Africans.
Have all their rich white people, and they get in on everything, including immigration.
Why do we have these programs in the first place? Why do people want to come over here?
Because they want to exclude particular people.
Efforts for people to come over here.
The first immigration exclusion law was against the Chinese.
If the United States didn't engage the rest of the world in the way that it did, and siphoning wealth from all these other countries, we wouldn't need to have all these immigrants coming over to make a better life for themselves, because of their lives being made horrible where they live at right now. So again, we're creating the problem. We create the problem of migration.
Yup.
I mean, a lot of these, since you're talking about Africa, which is essentially an entire continent, not a country, since you're talking about Africa, a lot of these countries in Africa, like, recently gained their independence. Like, recently, like in the 60s and 70s, they were like pretty much ruled by other countries. You know what I'm saying? So again, like, imperialism creates a lot of these migrational patterns.
But then they shut it down over there. They shut it down over here, and they leave people to be refugees.
Imperial forces didn't annex countries.
Yeah, colonialization, honey, colonization. Puerto Rico is still a colony. We are still a colony of the United States, just like the Virgin Islands, the American Virgin Islands, and the Samoan people, Guam, all of us. You know, we were the first nation.
So wait a second. Is somebody still trying to carry on the conversation with us as we talking and can't hear you? I commend whoever's doing that. That's G. I don't know how you doing it because we can't hear you. So whoever's trying to carry on the conversation, that's some G shit. Because I don't know how you doing that because we can't hear you. So I don't know how you fitting it in. So that's some G shit.
All delayed on the phone, but I'm dying laughing.
That's crazy. So right now, Will has his mobile phone out, and he has the live stream. So actually we can hear the person on the phone now.
This makes no sense.
And it makes no sense.
This makes no sense. How can you hear it, but we can't hear it?
Maybe it's a message from Seth Rich, dog. Maybe he's shutting us down to get the message out. Seth Rich, dog. He's shutting this whole thing down. He's like, this is his spirit shutting our show down so we can get the message out. It's him.
We're gonna have a good old talk about colonialism and immigration.
He's shutting us down.
And quotas and immigration and regional exclusion and refugees.
Shut down
but no.
LTMB.
So it's not a sound issue because the sound is coming through. It's just not coming through to us.
Yes. So whoever's on the phone, you tripping me out right now. Whoever's on the phone, you whoever's on the phone, you tripping me out right now.
We will have
y'all killing me
a
over
good
here.
Talk about the statistical
right.
around quotas and denial
of
past history.
And again, it's going to be on delay because we can't hear you.
Someday.
We can hear you only because we are watching our own live feed. Yeah, I hear music now.
Okay. All right, you hear music.
So that was a music test for those of y'all who were abruptly interrupted. Eardrums were abruptly interrupted by music. That was a music. That was a test.
I've never had this problem. I don't even know what to fix.
So we were about 10 seconds behind. So whoever was on the phone talking, the only reason why we were able to hear you is because we are watching our own live feed on a phone. And that's the only way we can hear you.
Oh, that is wild.
Maybe the thing needs to just be shut down or something.
That could be. You know what? Sometimes it's like the simplest answer. Sometimes things need to be shut down and shut.
But it should be
again.
coming through here, desktop. Or it should be coming through right here, the sound. But I wonder how they hear it. Like nobody should be able to hear it.
Maybe your plug is at the wrong place.
Look, y'all have been with us
come out right?
through multiple technical difficulties. Man.
And actually, we kind of the only reason why we know what's going on is because everybody's chiming in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even though we don't know what to fix right now, at least we know what we're working with or what we're not working with.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't. There's absolutely nothing for me to click on.
Yeah, you done clicked your way to.
There's nothing.
Yeah, you done clicked on everything, man.
No,
is there something I'm forgetting?
Nah. We just got to test, man. We just got to test. And like I said, I want to see if it's platform based and maybe on Facebook. Actually, after the show, we can try it. Yeah. We can try to see if it's platform based. So it could be platform based. So we'll try some calls on Facebook when we go to Facebook. You know what? I don't want to wait till Tuesday. Maybe we should do it, tonight on the after show.
Yeah. Yo, somebody messing with us.
I'm just start blaming people, man.
Somebody's messing with us.
Debbie Wasserman Schultz. It's her. It's Debbie. I know she's just her. It's her.
The in plug is in the
Debbie,
out
watch
plug.
me shoot.
The silent plug is upside down.
Hey, Debbie, watch me
Y'all
shoot.
stupid, man. Y'all
Didn't
so
rig the election.
Like, we gotta put this in
Y'all
further or
dumb,
something.
yo.
Like, nah, it's
Yeah, I was about to say Donna Brazil, so that's it, Jay. That was my next guess, so that must be it. It's Donna Brazil.
Brand
I
says,
don't
not
know,
me. I
I
might
better
be
watch your back,
IIT,
Lord.
but I wouldn't
These
sabotage
dogs,
this show.
Debbie.
Oh,
Them
gosh,
two,
man.
can you see them in a
I wish
ring?
Hillary did a show like this. It would be fun to mix with her live stream.
I think Donna and Debbie ought to get in the ring.
I'm tapping. I'm tapping, man. I don't even know. I'm tapping. There's not that many functions like we can mess with. There's really not that many things we can mess with.
What if it's just plugged into the wrong jack?
But it's not even coming through the computer. Like, we take this out and we still don't hear it.
Yeah, no.
I can hear you whether I take my headset out or not. So
All right, so
it's on y'all.
okay. Forget that, right? Forget that, right?
What's up with that? I'm gonna get in Donna's corner, okay? Y'all want to pick Debbie? You knock yourselves out.
All right,
But
so-
I
So
pick Donna.
let me try this. You try to fix. You try to see
Donna's
if
living
there's
dangerously.
anything going on, and I'll try to talk to the person.
Continue to say,
See, that
I'll
comes-
try to talk to the person on a delay.
All right.
Okay. So who do we have on the line, and where are you calling
I'm
from?
making my own music because you ain't talking to me. How you don't hear me?
It's on delay, so. Yo, this ain't American Idol.
I'm gonna
Yo.
make you some salsa sounds. and shit. I ain't got nothing else to do over here. I'm giving you a sound test.
So who are we talking to? Who's singing on the other end?
It's the V. V for Vendetta. V cubed.
Is this Tay?
V.
Who
Three
is this?
initials. V cubed. You know,
Oh,
math.
who's
You know.
trying to talk to her?
Third power.
Oh, what's up, V? Okay, what's up? So what kind of information you got for us? Because we usually like our callers to like tell us what's happening with some things that maybe we're lacking on, some information we lack on, some things that
The DACA.
you know
The DACA thing, they are
they're
using
not
the
knowledgeable
DACA
on. You know what I'm
to
saying? This is
pass
not
the
really
budget
just
bill.
our show; it's y'all's show. So we like people to call in and kind of take, you know what I'm saying? Take it.
Okay. We have this time delay, and I'm listening to you in my headphone and watching your lips move later. Okay, so when the DACA thing comes up, they are trying to do these little things to just let them be in the same position they were in already, which is not permanent citizenship. And the kids who fought for the DACA that are being used this way, they don't want that. They want their parents and be able to come in, and they want a path to citizenship. It's not in DACA, never been. And these fools, these Republicans and Democrats are going to act like they're doing somebody a favor by just letting it be the way it was and passing a whole bunch of crap in the budget that none of us want to see and use that as an excuse. So look out for that, because that's going to be ugly. And the kids are out demonstrating and getting arrested like crazy all over the country fighting this mess. So look out for that, because that's going to be ugly. And the kids are out demonstrating and getting arrested like crazy all over the country fighting this mess. So
Okay, so what you're pretty much saying is this is just kind of like pretty much theater. They're just
it is.
they're not really
nothing's
they're
going to
not
change.
really
Nothing's going to get
trying
any
to
better
engage
for
in any kind
anybody.
of immigration reform. They're just trying to like slide some stuff underneath all this talk.
Hellways, they always do that. They always use the social issues and do a little jive compromise that really ain't doing nobody no favors, and then they go ahead and do what they want to do anyway. That's the problem with these two parties. You could pick one or the other for your social issue, but when it comes down to what's going to happen, to immigrants, to working people, to poor people, to elderlies and kids, just forget it. Nothing changes with either one of them. And they are dying to go ahead and do it. Just like that really rich dude y'all were talking about early on, saying, "Hey, I ain't going to give y'all no money. Y'all better be moved back to the right, or I'm not going to give you any money. I'm a millionaire." That's aspirational. Those people, those are the Democrats, and they want this bill to pass, and they're going to act like they did DACA people a favor, and they ain't going to do nobody no damn favors. It's going to be the same crap, and you're going to get the bill with it. No, bad news all around.
Okay. I don't really see why that particular perspective you described is oh, wait a second. Oh, wait a second. I might be able to hear something. I heard something just now. Oh, put yeah, I might be able almost. Wait. Can you hear?
What the heck?
Yep. Okay, there you go. We can hear you real time now.
Go ahead and say something.
Yo, say something. Can you hear us? Okay. See. Okay. All right. Can you? All right. I think I can hear the person too.
There's nothing coming.
So yeah. So yeah. We can hear you now.
Hold on. You know what? Hold on. Before we do this.
Let's.
Before we do that, I want to check the
stream
video.
And see now if they can hear her.
Okay, let me see if it. All right, can you hear her? Can everybody hear her? This is an echo now. Is she there? See, they can't hear her now.
Oh, see, now they can't hear you.
Now we can't hear her.
Wow. So now we can hear you through our headphones, but now they can't hear you.
Okay, so let's. There's something going on.
Where I missed I guess because of the delay and the sound inconsistencies, and we never got where you're from.
Near Seattle. I'm a Puerto Rican in the Pacific Northwest. That's
Whoa, you way over there. So you know what? Well, see, if that's the case, I really do thank you for even joining our show, because y'all are y'all are 3 hours behind us. So.
Oh, I know. I'm an East Coaster, born and raised in South Bronx, Fort Apache.
Okay.
So, anyway, but I love your show.
They can hear.
And so
now.
I didn't want you to be mad at me thinking I'm trying
to
say something.
No. You got to understand one thing about me. One thing about
that stuff for so many years, love. I'm a grandmother, okay, and my
okay.
children
Well,
are
respect.
The ones that I worry about daily every time they step out the door. So I ain't about all that.
Respect.
They play games with every system we got. Makes me crazy.
No, I think I tend to be a little hot headed, but that don't necessarily mean I'm like. No, problem if I even have something to say. If I have nothing to say, that usually means I ain't got time for you. But usually, if I have something to say, I'm usually.
I'm a from New York, and I grew up with black Southern folk, because that's who was allowed to live in my neighborhood, Puerto Ricans and black Southern folk. So it's all right. I got it. I don't get crazy.
No. I don't like.
It can be hot.
Okay.
But it has to chill. It could start hot and it has to chill. It's all good.
Well, you sound yeah, no. We actually, you know what? That's exactly what she was. You were the nice little cream filler to the show, because we didn't. Because we kept everybody engaged, and we heard you singing after we turned on the live. So.
Oh my God! After all the music smoking, I let you hear that. Oh I'm sorry, y'all. It's okay.
Nah, no problem.
I can't. I can't tell that you were a smoker. So you do have a nice little sultry voice there. So it's all good.
Thank you, hon. It's always been that way. They've been calling me sir since I was 13. You guys have a wonderful night. I'm glad you hooked it up. I'm so happy.
Thank you. Appreciate you
Thank you
helping us
very
out there
much.
too.
No problem.
All right.
I love your show. Like I said, I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate that you have a great sense of humor, but you take on the most serious stuff, and I really, because you get tired of hearing people just yelling, and
Hmm.
and the vibe between you dudes is really awesome. You guys are really great friends. So
Appreciate
you're a
it.
good example of how to talk about stuff without, getting hot and bothered too much and fighting
Yeah.
about it.
True.
We don't
True.
need to fight. We got to break this stuff down because ultimately what I see is I don't even know how. I just saw a whole bunch of Democratic Socialists win last
Hmm.
night,
That's true.
and I'm grateful. I
Mm-hmm.
am grateful because I just don't see how that party is going to change. They sitting here
Yeah.
run. This is who they put on MSNBC. This rich dude to cry
Right.
about how oppressed he is. I mean, it's just I don't know what to say. Who we got? We got nothing. We got nothing in the corporate media. Even free speech TV sometimes just I'm grateful for you guys. Everybody's grateful for you because people are just not covering these things and just doing denial cover-ups, sweep it under the rug, whatever. And we're sick of it. We're just sick of it. You can't even turn that stuff on anymore. We look for you. It's like, why you only want to do it Tuesday and Thursday, man? Why don't you come up a little, on Wednesday, hump day, make it nice.
We got
Yeah,
we got a new consultant here.
Yeah,
we got a new consultant
Yeah,
here.
there's levels to this thing. We gotta, because I think to increase the amount of days that we do this, we're gonna have to have more hands on.
I don't think we've had one other caller that kind of exceeded our age by because you said you're a grandmother, right? Yeah,
Right.
probably most of the callers we do have are fairly young or around our age, and the age that Will and I are at, we're frustrated at our age, and we're not nowhere near middle age. So I can't even imagine. I guess
Now, we've
coming
been
from
watching
your
this
coming
for so
coming,
long, and
I can't
this
imagine
age-
coming from your vantage point and kind of
it's
seeing all this, seeing all this for this much longer than we have, and so
heartbreaking is what it is. It's seriously heartbreaking because we backsliding like nobody's business, and I ain't never seen us backslide so fast. It's painful, and because we did make some inroads, and we were getting ahead, and we had middle class black communities and Latino communities, and we was hanging, we was making some progress. Our kids were starting to be able to go to school, and then boom, come all this mess, and like I said, Puerto Rico was the first NAFTA. Okay, before there was Mexico, there was Puerto Rico, and what the reason Puerto Rico is so screwed right now is because of NAFTA. They just took all them tax breaks they gave to businesses and PR
yes,
and
Yeah.
swept them up over to Mexico. Mira, Puerto Rico used to produce every birth control pill consumed in the United States of America.
yeah, we
And
actually
they
did we did a we've covered that twice about Puerto Rico's financial problems. Yeah.
Yeah, and and it's everywhere. I mean, the things coming from that kind of society, and because we're so mixed racially, also, so we see the racism in Latinos, we see the anti-immigrant stuff in the black community, and we see white people all over the place, especially in winter when we can pass some of us, and they just say the most crazy things. Sometimes I say, "What
Did
do
you
you
just
mean by
say in the
saying
winter time you can pass?
yeah, I'm a high yeller in the winter. So, I pull my hair back and they don't know. And then come
That
the
sun isn't
and
as
they
fierce.
go, oh, Lord, what did I say around that woman a few months ago? I go, yeah, you did. You said that dumb shit right in front of me. You make me feel bad. And it's funny as hell because I got every shade in the world in my family. From blonde, blue-eyed people to black, look like they just stepped off the boat from Nigeria. And folks that look like Columbus never came, and straight up Indian still. Shit, really, because everything's been segregated in those islands for 500 years, and so we watch what comes up over here, and we go, yeah, this is nothing new. You people have been playing this game for 500 years, and it's tired, and most people are sick of it. And one of these days, we're just gonna run right. Oh, over all of y'all and say, look, we just tired of this BS, and we're gonna treat each other like we family. Family we like, not the relatives you don't like. The family you love. And that's the way when we start treating each other that way, that's the only way anything's going to change. You know, I wouldn't know black Southern people if I hadn't broke bread with black Southern people. I don't know hardly any white people that break bread with black Southern folk or black folk from any damn place. You know, East Coast, West, none. I mean, it is amazing. 2017, the segregation, I think, is worse than it was in a lot of ways. And it's just deep. I don't understand why. I don't understand. I mean, I understand why. I understand that this is promoted by every venue, by every communication venue there is. They promote this division. I'm tired of it. Yes, I know everybody is racist just by socialization. That's a fact. Especially white folk. And, but everybody's also very prejudiced against each other over stereotypes up the ass. Racism is a power dynamic, but prejudice is an attitude. And we can fix the attitude. But that system, if we don't fix our attitude with each other, we're never going to break that system down because that's what it needs to grow.
I think that there was some attempts at plenty attempts throughout history at allyship amongst diverse groups of people, but it was kind of squashed. I do think that people take for granted. Like, I think we do see a lot of diverse, I guess, movements now that have different types of people currently, but I think it's presented in an incorrect way. It's presented as if somehow it's a new thing. There were diverse groups there were groups allying with one another with different backgrounds back in the 60s.
Well, see, you know how you're talking about how there were
everywhere. South Africa was, Africans and Indians who, the whole caste system stuff, that called. It just, every time we do that, we jack up caste systems all over the world. Every time we get together to help each other. I mean, when I talk about immigration, I'm talking about African immigrants as much as Latino immigrants and indigenous people from Latin America who can't speak a damn word of Spanish. And everybody, anybody who's a refugee, anybody whose entire history we have destroyed for how long now? Come on, nobody got that messed up by themselves. We've been messing them, the Central and South American continent, the African continent, Asian continent. We've been messing with all of them for so long.
Yeah, I think that's the reason why I said that's the reason why I said immigrants, or whether be immigrants, refugees, any kind of migration. Usually, that's a product of how imperialist nations engage the world. So it's like we actually create these situations. So
but then the collaborative efforts you were talking about, like back in the 60s, the other end of like what she was talking about with being from her vantage point, seeing the troubles that we had back then, and it's like we're going backwards nowadays. Like, people like her see the situation correctly. They want movement. They want to keep progressing. But some of the people that came back from back then, they think the fight is too bad. Like, they don't. People like John Lewis, you know what I'm saying? He's in Congress right now, and you see the things that he does. He's a Democrat full and full, you know. So it's bad when those older people saw the things that were happening back in the 60s, back in the 70s, back even further. But now it's like that fight is way too strong. Like they can't do it.
We used to say, I got into Stanford. This Bronx child from Fort Apache got into Stanford when Condi Rice was provost. Okay, I'm glad they didn't have YouTube and shit and the phones that film everything back then, because I went right up at her. But at any rate, it was the most insane education over there, and it wasn't an education because they are great educators. It was an education in rich people's affirmative action. And I never saw so many stupid people in a university as I did at Stanford. I'm gonna be straight up. I did not. I swear to God, they were there because of who their daddy was, and they weren't prepared. They hadn't done a tenth of the work I did. I sit there and look at them. I missed the seminars at the UW in Seattle. This is a damn shame. These people are here because of who's their daddy. and how much money they put into the school. Are you kidding me? And we, for us, we believe it. We work for it. We work like, girl, no, they need. Anyway, and so I saw all this stuff going down over there, and what we would say, because we would see that the only first generation people of color at Stanford were usually in the sports, right? They got the sports scholarships. Most of the other folks was already, second, third generation college. And it was just amazing to me. I felt like such a freak because I was a single mom, person, woman of color, ghetto child, and I'm like, this is the weirdest place I've ever been, and the dichotomy that we believe that they are actually better when there is so much. I saw so much more wisdom and intelligence on 148th Street and St. Anne's Avenue than I did in Palo Alto. I said, I'm sorry. This has all been a real big scam. A real big scam. But the professors there and at the UC system, the black and Latino professors and stuff who had made it, we called them the pipeline chokers because they didn't bring people through the pipeline. They choked that mother off, and they wanted to be the only ones that whenever anybody wanted to call in an expert and pay them a nice speaker fee, they were the ones that were going to be called. And when we came up and said, wait a minute, half of y'all, 99% of you, especially the men of color who got into, professorships and stuff, left your wives of color who got you through it and are unmarried to white women right now. And you are not bringing people up. You are not bringing people in. You're not letting people co-write the papers, present, and all this stuff because you want to keep being the only one. I had one brother, there are very few brothers who were teaching at Stanford when I was there. It was 90 to 93 and stuff. Actually had the cojones to ask me if I wanted to babysit his kids. I was the mother of a 12-year-old boy. Why do I want to babysit your children? You and your white wife cannot pay somebody to babysit your children with your $70,000 Stanford salary. Don't even. That's the kind of stupid stuff that ended up. You don't see people going up. You see, especially for men of color, for black men, especially in academia, it was horrible, and it still is. I'm like, what happened? We in CUNY in New York, CUNY was free. CUNY was number one. So was the UC system back in the day. That era, you went in there, and there were so many black professors coming into it. It was amazing. It was wonderful. It was the most beautiful thing you could see. Even back in the 70s when I was a geek, a ghetto geek. So I went to, they wanted to give me a scholarship to some private high school. But in between, I had to go to some betterment summer school to get us ready because we're ghetto children. And it was mainly black folk from the South and ghetto children from the Northeast. The William and Mary College in Massachusetts, holy smokes. I had no idea stuff like that existed. And, oh my God, when the English professor walked in with a dashiki and an afro, I was like, oh my God, thank you, Jesus. What? Finally. People that look like my friends. People that look like people from my neighborhood. You have a college degree, you're a professor. I'm going to talk Baldwin with you. We're going to talk about the church commission with you. Thank God. It was so wonderful. But I look now at the universities and I go, it's still dismal. If any, I don't even know if they have as many as we had back then. It's been horrible. They choked that pipeline like nobody's business, and they tried to make all their studies generic. I mean, you don't even have women's studies anymore. You got gender studies. What the hell is that about? So when black women especially were really breaking into women's studies, all of a sudden it had to be, and this is a dynamic that we've had all over the world all the time. One of the big studies we had was about, how did this race thing start? And Sylvia Winters, the sister from Caribbean Islands, but British Caribbean Islands, who taught there. I hope she's still alive. She was magnificent. And she was studying it from taking taking Caliban in the Tempest, and the whole they're just scared of darkness. They're so afraid of darkness. Remember, these people couldn't switch on a light, and so we terrified them, and they built an incredible mythology around us, like they did around everything they were afraid of. And if we can get to that. Another thing I learned many years because I got a hothead too, and I actually went to learn about anger and stuff with did a group therapy thing because I punched things and that hurts. And so and with the thing that we most stuck with me there was rage comes from pain. It comes from hurt. If you like you said, if you don't care, you don't engage later. But that anger comes from being hurt so much and seeing so much hurt to so many people who didn't deserve it. And it'll get triggered in a hot second, boy, when somebody is saying something that you think is you're making excuses for this or for that. Yeah, I hear you. I go off and I have to chill because, like I said, I went off on Condi Rice. I'm glad. Oh, Jesus. Glad it's not on film. And she became Secretary of Defense. That's not good. But, but what I did learn is that all that rage comes from just hurting so much for so many people and going, holy, when is this going to stop? Don't let them. Don't let them. There are, I think the young people are better now. I really do. And so don't let them. When they say, oh, well, these white people are racist, it's like, yes, they have to deal with their racism. But are they trying to be actively racist? There's a difference. There's a huge difference. Focus. Don't let them make you shoot all over the place. Focus. They're just trying to take our attention away from them. There are a whole lot of these young people are really trying to do the right thing. And I see them get kicked in the face, figuratively speaking. And but then they run away and they don't try again. And I'm telling you, they ain't never gonna learn if they don't break bread with us. They ain't never gonna learn. You can sit there and philosophize till the cows come home. They ain't gonna see our humanity till they see our humanity. And the way we are segregated, more than I have ever seen, they are never gonna see it. And we're just going to keep talking about it in workshops, and it ain't going to work. We need to really actually work together because this is just going in circles and like down the drain kind of circle. That ain't the way we saw it going. And yeah, we saw the sellouts. We saw the sellouts. We got to reverse this thing. And when white folks are trying, say, okay, I see you trying. Do not make me do your work for you. But I do appreciate that you are trying. And when you work with what is important to my community, I will recognize you. Don't ask for a medal. I'm just saying I recognize you. And yet you earn my respect. And that's the only way. If we don't respect each other, Staple Singer's Baby Spin It, K, is real. It's real. We are really disrespecting each other in just the most crazy ways these days. And we're just aiming a lot of anger, and it's not going to work. It's not going to come to nothing with that. You have to chill, and you have to go, okay, my feelings are hurt. What was that about? Did you say what I think you said? And clarify and work together, because otherwise it's been 500 years. I think that's way more than enough. We're going on 600. I think it's way long enough. They played this on us so long ago when you could not switch on a light. When you were scared of the dark. In blackouts, aren't you scared of the dark? I'm scared of the dark. If I was in Puerto Rico right now, night after night after night, you know how many people are committing suicide? Come on, honey, this stuff is terrifying. We are scared of the dark. Okay, we have wonderful imaginations, and we made up stories like nobody's business. I mean, come on, we love them still to this day. We go back to look at that stuff and go, whoa, were you guys tripping on acid? What was that? But, yeah, because of the fear. We do a lot of things out of fear. It's time to stop it because it's not that time anymore. It's not 600 years ago. So come on, we know each other like we have never known each other. Let's start getting beyond the internet and the workshops and sit down and eat and fix things together and build things together. And when we mess up and step on each other, say, yo, get off my foot. You just did something stupid. I'm sorry. Explain. Okay. All right. You got it? Good. Don't do it again. I will do my best. Fantastic. Move on. Because we have got to focus on those people. It is unbelievable. How are 3 families going to have more than 50 billion people? Come on. Nobody thinks that's right. And that's why they want us to keep doing this. You know, they want us to hate each other. I can't hate anybody of any color. I'm going to hate somebody in my family. You know, I just can't. And I think it's a good thing because there's a whole lot of times I got to hate white folks so hard it was just painful. So, and it is painful. You know, that anger and that pain, it really, you know, we got the high blood pressure, hypertension, all this shit. We don't need this. We don't need this baggage. We don't need it. It's like most, you know, a lot of people are trying to really do right. Hang on to them and the rest of them. They're just going to be, when we focus, they're going to wish that laser wasn't coming their way. That's all I got to say. Because, yeah, I don't do buckshot. I think we need laser, not buckshot. And we just have to get together. Because what we have been doing up till now ain't working. And a whole lot, like they used to say that the lesbians were sent in there to break up the women's movement and the queer folk, to break up the black movement. They always keep on creating another enemy to break. It's them that's doing it. We're not doing it. We're trying to be back with our people. If you're queer, trying to be back in your black community, you don't want to be pushed to a white community because they're so much more accepting, and then deal with all that racism. What everyone's been trying to do is bring everyone together, and they are saying just by identifying yourself, you are pulling yourselves apart. No, you're pulling us apart. We are trying to say, I am your queer brother or sister. I am your black relative that you keep trying to ignore is here. I am, you know, the disabled person that, oh, you call them retarded or crazy or, you know, and stuck them in a home someplace and then didn't tell nobody they were there. We're trying to pull all them folks back out and say, together, let's do things together. They say we're doing it to pull it apart. We're not doing it to pull nobody apart. We're doing it to bring people in. But don't forget that part. If you forget that part, they win. That's not our goal. When we started, you know, back in the day with all these identity politics, they call it now, it was just saying, hello, we're here. You want to stop making believe we're not here? Because they did. There were no black people on TV. There were no black people, you know, teaching me in my school. You know, that we had to make them see we were here by identifying ourselves. That wasn't separating ourselves. That was just telling them we're already here. Would you please deal with us like grown-up ass people? Shit, is that so damn much to ask for? And to this day, they're acting like you're trying to take something. No, fool. I'm just saying I'm here. Don't, like, knock me over as you're running past because I am here. And I'm going to stand right here in front of you. So you are either going to say, excuse me, or go around me. But you will not run through me anymore. I'm not a ghost. Okay? And that's it. You know, the goal has been lost. The goal was to unite. The goal was to, like, erase borders that we did not put those borders down. Okay? Not even when we were tribal, borders moved all the time according to relations and marriages and wars and winds and adoptions. We didn't do this. We didn't put down lines and make believe that that shit was drawn in blood and we were going to draw all the blood it took to keep it there. That was crazy. What the hell sense does that make? People have migrated since the beginning of damn time. That's why we ain't all in Africa, for God's sake. So let's just act like this is what we do and learn from each other and cut the crap. And the first asshole that thinks they need to have more than 50 billion people, just, I don't know, wrap them up in rocks and throw them off a bridge into some deep water because that shit is tired. And that shit is totally psychotic. There is no room for that. That is criminal. That is criminal against billions of people. That is what mass murder compares to that. Poverty kills. Are we going to make believe it doesn't? Poverty, that word, use it because it's real. And we're gonna have, they tell you that if you have a microwave and a TV, you ain't poor. And people are sitting here going, oh, I'm going to shut up now because I got a microwave and a TV. Come on now.
I've seen that. I've heard that before.
You know, and we internalize everything. I swear we do. And we got to admit, they make us feel bad about every damn thing we are and every damn thing we do. We don't internalize none of this garbage. And the people that are real, really seriously take them in and say, you're going to learn and you're going to learn some respect. I know everything about you. The slave has always had to know the master or die. Okay, the master didn't need to know what the slave was doing. Well, they did when they found out what happened in Haiti, but you know. And you know Haiti was paying reparations all these years, right? Right. You know that, right? They paid the French reparations for freeing themselves and being the first free black nation in the West. Ay, mira, por favor. Look, and then Haiti and Dominican Republic. Look at these two. Are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? What the hell sense does it make that that's separate? What the hell sense does that make? Why? To keep punishing the blackest part. And Dominicans talking about they ain't black. I'm like, seriously, please, honey. Okay, we're doing better on that. We've been working on that. Been working on that real hard. You can thank people like Felipe Luciano before he sold out and got real commercial. But he was one of the Young Lords dude who had a show on the only black station we had on FM radio back then. That Spike Lee kind of just started put in his movie, the Do the Right Thing. God, The Colors of the Day. But BLS, and on FM, and he used to do a show on Sundays about heritage and said, Puerto Ricans, don't be talking just about your Indian self that you just finally learned is real. We are Africans too. And boy, oh boy, but did I get into fights with family over that.
Well, V, you gave us an education today, all right? You went on for a while, and I appreciate that, man.
You know, it's just that we've been in this mess for a long, long time. People in the Caribbean have been watching this a long, long time. A whole bunch of countries tore us apart. We don't even speak the same language.
Yeah, that's no doubt.
You know, and it ain't right. It ain't right because we the same people. We all came from the same damn place. It's stupid as hell. So just don't let them. And the people that do right, recognize, and the ones who don't, screw them. But we got to all get focused on the ones that are doing this to us, that are making the most by us doing this to each other. Okay, because,
I mean, it's mainly made from division.
Families. 2 families, bro. At the 8 hours. Just please keep the focus and don't let them, you know, there's a lot of little things that they'll always try to, the guns, right? Of course, the guns. You know, guns, gays, and God, and now vaginas, and whatever, and who has what kind of junk in there, God knows. Let's pull it down and look, and now look how crazy it's getting. What do they want to pull down your pants and make sure you're this or that or the other thing? What do these people want to do? That's how crazy it has gotten. And it's not because there's always been transgender people. Always.
No doubt.
It's not because it's new. They've always been there. But the moment that they say, please treat me like a human being, it's their fault people want to pull down our pants and look at our crotches. No, it's not. It's the crazy people that think that shit matters.
All right, V, we gotta go, V.
I love you guys. And thank you for chatting after all the time we tried to actually, connect. I appreciate it. It's really, I really love you guys. Keep on going. If I could do anything to help you with your show, that's not money. I am a very talented person. So
no
let
doubt.
me know if I can do something for you. It's okay.
All right. Thank you for watching. Thanks for calling, too.
Have a nice night.
And take good care.
You too. All right, man. V, that was 52. Well, we didn't hear it, but for about what? Maybe 25 minutes of that call. But no, that was a good call.
Well, she got the I guess the what you would call elder treatment. So
oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, but she had something to say, straight up. And she didn't really repeat herself either. I mean, she had a lot to say about a lot of different things. Well, that were connected.
She has the experience.
Yeah, she has that vision. So yeah, no doubt, we appreciated it. Dang, my finger hurts like what though?
Oh yeah, y'all ain't know this, but
oh my finger, man.
Will smashed his finger before the show.
Gosh, man.
He was pulling up his chair, and there's a gap in between the chair separates, and it slid in between that, and his whole body weight went. And so the show, we didn't start the show on time.
Yeah, man. I mean, the show was in jeopardy.
The show was in jeopardy.
If anybody has smashed their finger before, you know how painful that is. I mean, I'd rather, man, I might rather get stabbed, man. I don't know, man.
Yo, 'cause anything dealing with the fingers or the toes, man. That's why all nerves. Anything dealing with the fingers or toes, it's over.
It is still sensitive as what?
Oh no, the shin too. Shit, I don't, man.
I can't even. Oh, man. And then when the nail is gonna have like that blood spot or whatever like that
underneath it forever.
Man, forever.
It's not gonna go away.
It's gonna go away till I'm like 60 years old or something like that, man. Whatever.
Well, we appreciate everybody who chilling.
Yeah, chilling
while the show was going on during its technical difficulties, and listen to.
You know what? I wanted to make one more test, man, because we got the audio from the caller. I just want to go back and see if we got audio from the video.
Okay.
And see if that was maintained.
See, I can hear it.
You can hear it?
I can hear the video.
All right, let's see if they can hear it.
Because sometimes when we fix
one problem, another problem arises.
Yeah.
Can you hear that?
It's aspirational. I didn't start with anything. Just penalize everyone that's done well.
No. You know what this is behind.
Yeah, okay.
It is very, very disturbing.
Still hear video.
Okay,
there you
good.
go.
All right.
We fixed it. Okay.
Because see, what happens is when we fix something, something else goes. So
now, these settings
will not
are
change.
Exactly what they used to be. Nothing should change. We should be good now. Caller audio is good. Video, good. They hear us as well. We hear everything. We ain't gonna mess with these settings. And Tuesday we're gonna have nothing but it's gonna go smoothly. Not gonna have any problems whatsoever. Just like that was the norm for I don't know how many shows, but hopefully nobody comes and messes with the computer during that time.
Hopefully the Russians won't hack us.
Yeah, but Hillary Clinton, she won't step up in here and try to mess with some stuff. DNC operatives or something like that.
DNC operatives, deep state, somebody.
All right, so we're gonna get going, and like I said, appreciate everybody hanging out with us tonight.
She said, Tara Bright said my mic is somewhat louder.
Mike's mic is somewhat louder.
It's not on the. Both of the settings are the same.
Yeah, it's on one.
Yeah, mine's on one and his is on one.
Yeah, maybe Mike is talking louder right now.
Yeah, maybe.
Might be. If I'm talking right in the mic, maybe. I don't know. That's also the V cubed. Good show. Appreciate everybody being here. Gene, Jay, V, Tara Brait, Marsha,
Jay, Scott, Gene,
Jillian, Jeffrey, Marsha. I think I said Marsha. Ruth, What's up, Ruth?
Mary.
Mojo. I think that's a new listener. Mojo.
Yeah.
Taxation is theft.
No, I agree. I agree. Taxation without representation is theft.
Yes.
So I partially agree with that.
Partially.
Right now, it's looking like some.
Yeah, it looks like it's straight.
It's looking like we get straight carjacked.
Getting jacked.
Get tax jacked.
Yeah. Money's getting yoked up, man, and not used to benefit us. V talking about some. I don't understand Spanish, so I can't.
I need to get on that.
Yeah,
I've been lazy on
that.
There's
this app that's supposed to be like pretty good with learning different languages called Babbel.
Babbel, okay.
Babbel. I downloaded it. I just haven't even gone into it, but it's supposed to be really good. Learning new languages, like
I was supposed
to
be on that last year, and I didn't.
Yeah, I know, man. I remember high school. I ain't pay attention.
I was actually pretty good. I made.
We was in the same Spanish 2 class.
Miss.
I don't know her name.
Start with an M.
I have no idea. Like, it could be anything.
Montgomery.
Okay.
Yeah. I just remember her because she was cool.
And
she had a boyfriend that rode motorcycles or something.
Okay.
I don't
remember that.
Oh yeah, so yeah.
I remember sleeping.
Oh Lord, see, I did pretty good in that.
No, I remember. You know what? I remember one test we did where, man, Spanish 2 was not easy. I remember one test I got an 80, and that was the highest in the class. Yes.
I think once I got like the sentence structure down, I was. But
see, I got this one help you. Did Spanish 1 help you to get to Spanish 2? Mm-hmm. Okay, see, that was the difference. See, Spanish 1, our Spanish 1 teacher was out for the whole year. Okay, see? I had a substitute that gave us the answers.
Oh, see,
she gave us.
So you did no work. So basically, guess who I had Spanish 1? Miss Montgomery. So I had the same teacher.
Okay.
So I had the same teacher.
Yeah,
so.
I got an A in Spanish 1 through no work at all. All right. Next time, give us an update on PR. Okay, update on PR. Mary said 4.5 years of Spanish and can barely speak or understand it.
Yeah, because I mean, your ears are different, man. Yeah. Your ears are different. It's not just speaking it; it's hearing it.
Like, and if you don't continuously do it,
that's one thing. It's like,
I know a lot of words,
especially like when you're like you retain more when you're younger too.
Yeah, that's true.
But again, we'd like to thank y'all for staying with us until 10 o'clock.
Yeah, no doubt. I guess we'll go on Facebook.
We'll go on Facebook for a few minutes.
See if anybody shows up. Yeah. But if you can't make it there, we'll be back on Tuesday after the weekend, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we hope you join us. We hope a whole lot more join us. Share the video, tell your friend, tell another friend, so we can get the word out, increase the audience. We even have some plans on we're gonna make a commercial or something. We're gonna make something so we can get it out there, because it's the audience isn't progressing like we want to. We have to get the word out, so we got to be a little bit better about reaching people that don't know we're back or have never heard of us. But especially the latter, because especially the former, because especially on Facebook we have thousands of followers, but it's not translated into them actually looking at the video. So we don't know if it's through the Facebook algorithm they're not seeing what we're putting out.
No, they're not, because it actually give you statistics on who's actually seeing it.
Yeah, like how many people it's reaching.
So how many people it's reaching.
And it's not reaching anywhere close to what we were reaching last year.
It's like now it's maybe on average probably like 5%.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So again, yeah, we got some work to do, and we're gonna be proactive, and that's one of the things that we're that we're gonna use the money that we are receiving from our patrons on patreon.com/LTMB. We use that money so that we can boost some posts, boost our live videos, so that we can reach other people that we haven't reached so far. So again, it's all a process, and we're in it for the long haul. People want to see more of us, more than just on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
We'll try to get to that point. Yeah. We'll try to get to that point.
Yeah, no doubt.
If anything, if we do make an expansion, it will be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Yeah, most likely.
So. Most likely, I would think so. Yeah. But anyway, this is what we got for now. Oh yeah. Mary. See, she went to the website. It's not updated. Man, that thing has not been updated.
I know she done put us on blast.
Yes, Mary, come on, man. We thought we was cool.
I know, man.
Why are you putting us out there like that, man? Yeah, no, the website has not been updated for a while. We used to write articles. Man, we haven't wrote an article in. It's been
a
long minute. It's been a while. We started out writing articles. And I think we wrote some good ones,
Yo, if you haven't gone to the website, you need to go check out an article Will wrote about who is Hillary Clinton.
Oh yeah.
That's probably if you haven't seen that or haven't read it, go read it right quick. It's pretty good. I think that was a good article to get your feet wet in the game.
Yeah. It was really, I think, maybe I'm biased on it. I think it was a fair analysis of Hillary Clinton at that point too. I didn't even really go in. I didn't even go in on her, but like I said, we got some material on there. It's some old material, but like I said, we do need some more hands on this, and we have plans, we have designs on putting out the word for more help. People that maybe you have some skills that you want to write, you can do that on the platform. If you're good at research, you definitely can use that as well. So the website is www.letthemadnessbegin.com. So yeah, like I said, it's primarily, I think we did maybe a little bit of updating from this year. I'm not sure yet.
But if we do any updating, will it be it would be a wreck to try to update everything that is all of our output since we stopped.
Yeah,
that would be
like a big jump. Yeah.
You'd be updating for a couple of months.
Oh yeah,
because you know what I'm saying. You would have to
get all the new stuff on there, the stuff that all the old stuff. Yeah,
then it'll be kind of pointless unless you just want to do it as like a website resume, just so all the content, even the old stuff.
It would take a while for all the new stuff to populate all the I guess featured material. Like I said, we still do have that platform, and we're gonna use it. Like I said, it's just us two right now working on this thing.
Oh no, Tay, I do too. I do prefer video. If I would say this, if there's going to be a compromise, obviously we're still going to do the live shows, but as far as if there's going to be any writing, it's going to be kind of very short blurbs.
Yeah.
If we do anything long, that's going to be here and there.
Yeah, that takes.
Yeah, because I think just like me, Will, we tend to want to be very precise and accurate, detailed, and never want to get any details wrong. Right.
So you don't want to put something. We don't just
because most 24/7 news cycles and news networks is not just 24/7 news cycles and news networks on air. It's a 24/7 news cycle and a news network on their pages too. So they always are constantly. They got journalists and writers putting things out every 5 minutes,
right? And then have to update that article.
They have to update, and they usually have to update the article and whatnot. And so that's not how we do. We don't like to. Let's look. This is the topic of the day. I'm gonna write this and then post it that day.
Yeah.
Nah, that's not. I don't think that's constructive.
Yeah.
So, but if we do write anything, it's more going to be a little bit shorter and to the point. You know what I'm saying? Just so we can get more stuff out.
But we have had some guest writers from time to time that have wrote about different things as well. So that opportunity is out there, and we do need to put the word out there that is an opportunity.
And judging from just our, I guess the content that I guess the people in our chat go back and forth on, or go back and forth with. Just that I can tell that there's probably a lot of potential.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I remember. I mean, we've had a few articles that have gone pretty far, that have reached many people, and that we didn't write. It was some guest authors. So yeah, if you can write and you have something to say, no doubt. I mean, we'll be glad to look it over and put it on the website. Definitely give you the credit, everything like that. So but yeah, we'll work on that. We'll put the call out again. We still got to put the store up. Merchandise, still got to do that. But yeah, again, got things to do, but we'll get there. Again, so yeah, appreciate everybody being here, and if you want to head over to Facebook for a few minutes,
we'll be there.
But if not, we will see you next week. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend.